All right, test. Oh, that sounded weird. Okay, test, test, test. We should sound good. What is this? We're live, man. We're live. Okay, my bad. Hold up, man. We are live. We're over here. I don't even need to say where we're at. We know where we're at. Let me just make sure the audio's good. That's what I was trying to figure out, and then it just started. I didn't mean to do that, but we're here. We sound perfect. Oh my goodness, this is one of those days, baby. This is gonna be one of those days. But I think I figured something out. If I start the stream and then I leave, if I start the stream and leave and then I come back, the mic works. I think that might be the strategy. It's backwards as heck, but if I start the stream and then leave and come back, it fixes the mic because for whatever reason, it's always messed up at the beginning. But we'll see. That's a theory. I'm testing that theory in today's live stream. We'll see, though. We're about to find out real quick. This live stream is being brought to you by BetUS, man. YouTube 150. That's the code. It's in the description. A 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on the next two deposits up to $2,000, man. You're looking for your sports book? Use that as your sign-up bonus. Chat, I got the graphics. They sent me this graphic over. Now, these lines, subject to change, as they say, but this is what we're looking at. I saw the over. I heard the over-under was at 57 at one point. I don't know if that was ever a thing actually, but 56 right now. I've heard this is one of the highest over-unders in like years. That might not be true at all, but that's what I've heard. So regardless, it's a high over-under, 56 points, and then the spread. I've seen this recently at like 2.5. So I think this has moved a little bit, but I think at its peak, it was at 3. I think at its peak, it was at 3, but it may be there right now. So if you want to check, go to BetUS, man. Check it out. This is intriguing, man. This is intriguing. The over-under is what intrigues me, honestly, if we're looking at the betting side of it, because I'm always wrong. Like, if y'all ask me over-under, I probably said under a majority of the times. I've probably been wrong every time I've said that. Almost every time I've said that. I'm pretty much backwards every time. But this is one of those weeks, and I'll probably be wrong again. It feels like for sure this is going to the over. And I think a lot of people are going to be putting money on the over this week. That'd be my assumption. But I don't know. I'll probably be wrong for that. Like I'm like, okay, finally bought in. There's going to be a lot of points and there will be no scoring. That's just how it goes. But that's fine. Let me see who's in the chat here. We got Scott. Sorry, I can't speak English. We got Scott in the building. He says, what up, Dose? Hope you are doing a watch party Sunday. Got work schedule changed to watch. I see you. Yeah, they flexed it to prime time. That's the plan right now. We're going to have a live stream. Dose of Dad won't be here, unfortunately, but I plan on being live for that, so it's just going to be me rocking the live watch party. Fired up, dude. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Sunday, okay? I honestly, like, I don't love the post-game shows on night games because it's, like, so late. It throws off everything, and it's like, well, do I go live now or do I go pre-recorded? I mean, the last pre-record was, like, 3 a.m. that thing got out, so it's a mess, but I can make it work this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be pretty geeked up regardless, I think, of how this game goes. I'm probably going to be a little drained, but I'm going to be fired up either way, so I'm cool with it. We can make it work this weekend. Jody's in the building. I see you. Hi, everyone. What's up? The truth is here. Detroit Sports Talk's in the building. Flying to Detroit for the game right now. Where are you flying from? Flying right now? I see you, man. The tickets, I've been looking, but hey, I want to, but the tickets looking crazy. Juma's in the building. Scott again. What's up, Scott? I see you. Man seated. My man Trevor's here. All right, look. How hard of a choke job was Oregon in the Rose Bowl? We don't need to talk about that. You know what I mean? We don't need to talk about that. I missed a lot of that one. I was doing, what was I doing during that one? I had shows, I think, during both of the playoff games, if I'm being honest. I know I did during the Georgia-Notre Dame game. We just kicked off our Draftaholic show on Roundtable Sports. That's going to be a weekly show. It's Thursdays, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. We go live over there. So we're just getting started. It's helping me because typically in this kind of season, I wouldn't be looking at draft prospects yet. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be there, so I'd be behind. But I've had to dive into it for the show, so I've had to start rolling a little bit. It's getting me, hyped up a little bit for the draft, and I love the draft, so it's good. I'm glad I'm gonna have a little bit of I'm gonna be in a pretty good spot. I think once the season, is over in the beginning of February, I'll still be in a pretty good spot. But like I'm getting pretty fired up for the draft, doing that draft show. So, I mean, that's a side note. I don't even remember what the comment was I just read. I'm going to be honest with you. What was the comment I just read? I was going to go somewhere with that. Forgot what it was. What was the question? It wasn't a question. All right. Wait, hold up. The choke job. Okay, it was a question. So, yeah, I didn't even see the first half of that game. I think I was working on editing the video, and then I posted it during the game. Maybe that's what it was. But by the time I tuned in, it was 34. It was like 34 or 41 to 15. I was like, what the heck? So, disaster. But I felt that when I did the little that I did see, right? I think I saw like a couple plays here and there defensively, And I'm just watching it like, bro, I didn't know how much they played it. But it was like, what, the press man. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we just sitting man coverage? I was like, huh? You can't do that against Ohio State. Like, you're watching that, and if based on what you're saying, that makes me believe that a lot of that was the same all game long. Come on, man. Come on, man. You can't do that. You got to play the Michigan strategy to be honest. Hey, going out on a win against Bama, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, that was an amazing season to the finish. Just side note for Michigan, that was awesome. Like this was I'm not mad at the season. You know what I mean? For a little bit there, I mean, it was hard to watch all year, but like, hey, they got it done at the end. The Ohio State win was everything. But then they go beat Bama. That spread got up to like 17 points. Jalen Milroe's playing. Ryan Williams is out there, and they won that game. It was like the ugliest football game I've ever seen, but they won. I mean, it was a pretty great finish. I'm hyped up for next year. Hopefully Wink Martindale comes back, because I know he's getting paid. He's got the bread. So hopefully he's coming back. Okay, but anyways, I'm off topic here. Keep throwing things in the chat. We're going to discuss just some whatever you guys want to discuss. Throw it in the chat, man. We'll discuss today. I do still want to go through the practice report, though, or the final injury report before the inactives, because we have those. And, not a lot to these, especially for the Vikings side. It's going to take a couple minutes to just get, not even a couple minutes, maybe a minute to get through that. But the Lions side's a little bit interesting. We'll go there first. We'll go to the Lions side. We'll go to their X page. This is where they posted it. The Lions one looks like this. Alex Anzalone is what we're all here for, I think. Based on what was said, I hate to be the guy. I don't think he's playing. All right. Now, could be wrong. Dan Campbell said he passed the test. I didn't even know they had some of these tests. Well, let me read through. Dan Campbell said he passed a handstand test. I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. Broken forearm. Okay. I'm like, can you do a handstand? I mean, it sounds scary, though. Like, I'd be scared as heck. Like, coming back from, I had a broken forearm, now I got to do a handstand. He said, what did he say? An inverted jumping jack? What the heck is that? Chat, what is an inverted jumping jack? You do a jumping jack off your hands? I got healthy forearms, I think, and I couldn't do that. That sounds insane. Hey, he was joking? I mean, like, look, I hope he was, all right? Because inverted jumping jack lost me. That makes sense. That makes more sense. I could buy a handstand. Like, let's see if he can do a handstand. I thought this was legit, Charles. Charles, I thought this was legit. I bought that one. The second one lost me. I'm like, yo, he said an inverted handstand. I looked up what an inverted... I shouldn't have done this. Hold up. Let me show y'all. I looked up what an inverted handstand was. Because I was like, wait a second. Is that a real thing? And it's a thing. Or not an inverted handstand. Inverted jumping jack. I'm sorry. Inverted jumping jack. I looked that up. Because there's some... Hey, people do some crazy workouts. And there was like some videos, but they didn't look like anything that would like make me think like, okay, that's what they would have him do. I found like some jumping things, but there was like nothing that actually like made sense. So it makes sense that it was a joke. You know what I mean? Because I'm watching it like, yo, what the heck is he talking about? An inverted jumping jack? That sounds insane. That's some Olympic type stuff there. So, okay. I'm glad that was clarified. Thank you for that. That threw me off. Like, these guys are definitely different athletes. Okay. Inverted jumping jacks is insane. But outside of that, I don't think he's going to play this week. Dan did say, right? He said that I can play the clip, but basically was like, hey, most of the time it's trying to get them back for practice. Have them right for practice. That way they can return next week. And he said, we got to be smart about the player. We know we got playoffs next. Hopefully that's in 2 weeks. I know people will try to make that case. Well, like, hold up, Dan. If you win this week, then you get that extra time off. You know what I mean? So you got to play him. I know that case will be made. I don't rush him back. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. It's a broken bone. So I'm not sure like what the extra week would actually do for him, but he's been practicing all week, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's optimistic. I guess the biggest thing is like, hey, at worst, he's going to be here next week. At worst, whether that's we're on a bye week, whether that's we're playing, he's going to be here next week. So I'm happy. It doesn't sound like we're going to get in this game, but I'm happy. David Montgomery's still out. No changes there, but he still hasn't hit IR. So I guess at some point he could become available. We just keep having him out, but it makes sense based on the numbers game. Emmanuel Mosley's also out, illness. Hasn't really played on defense, so I guess that doesn't change much. And then Khalif Raymond and Craig Reynolds, those are the two that I'm really circling. Because Khalif Raymond's been getting full participations noted. I think that he's maybe in the same kind of boat. I don't think he's going to play, but he feels like he's in the same kind of boat as Duracell. And I think we're going to get him back soon. I actually had a graphic. If anybody didn't check out my Bleacher Report stream on Wednesday, you definitely should. I won't go through the full thing, but I do have a graphic that I want to show. All right, because I put a 3-page graphic, and I want to show one of those today. Because the receiving core, I want to talk about it a little bit more, and I want to give Khalif Raymond some attention, and I think it's a great way to do it. And then Craig Reynolds. A little bit of a surprise, popping up Craig Reynolds with a back injury. Questionable for this game. If Craig can't go, we know we're already light there. So that actually is a pretty big injury if he can't go. The positive is that I like who we have behind it. Jamar Jefferson's actually been like legitimately involved. The big thing there for Jamar is going to be the other spots. It's going to be the third down. It's going to be the pass pro. It's going to be those little things like that was where it was a mess last week, where you just want a guy that you trust in those spots. I don't have any concerns about him running the football. Like as a rusher, Jamar Jefferson, I'm confident that he'll be good there. It's just the other things. It's not like we're losing like a dynamic athlete. It's the other things. But Craig looked good. Craig looked patient. He looked really good with his vision last week. We just blocked our butts off last week, and we got to do that again this week. So it'll be a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. That'd be my assumption. Even if Craig can go, I think giving him 18 carries last week means this week it's going to be a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs. They need that game breaker in this game, so I don't think they're going to have any issue with like leaning on him heavy. I think they're going to do that. And I feel good with Jefferson, and then hopefully that means Baki gets some touches if Craig Reynolds is down for this game. That'd be the big thing there. But that's the injury report for the Lions side. Now the Vikings side, honestly, I don't even need to pull the graphic for this one. This one is just a few players. I'll just read them off. Patrick Jones is out, but he's a backup for that team anyway. We have seen Jalen Redmond take some snaps. I think he plays interior a little bit as well, too, if I remember correctly. But Jalen Redmond's been playing some snaps. He's a backup for them. Pat Jones, an unfortunate injury there. And then at linebacker, Gruger Hill is questionable for this game. The positive for them is that Blake Cashman is back, which I know Vikings fans are hyped about. He didn't play against us last time. Blake Cashman's back. He's been playing well. Played last week against Green Bay, and they have Ivan Pace who will start next to him. And then they'll also put Josh Metellus in there kind of as like a sub-package linebacker. He kind of plays like a linebacker as a defensive back based on personnel. So they're going to be fine there. Again, that's depth. And the same thing with Fabian Moreau. Thing I'd say about that is their secondary has looked like Stephon Gilmore at wide corner, Byron Murphy at wide corner if you only have 2 receivers on the field. If you put 3 on the field, then they kick Byron Murphy inside, and all of a sudden Shaq Griffin steps in at wide corner. And I saw Green Bay go at Shaq Griffin a little bit last week. I didn't think it was super successful, to be honest with you. I think he played really well. I think Griffin's a very physical corner, and we saw that. So they got some physicality at corner. He was absolutely that for them. I thought he actually played pretty well last week. But that's what their secondaries look like. So again, it's kind of a depth thing there. But that's the injury report. That's the injury report for both sides. That's the final injury report. So I guess we'll just keep an eye on Craig Reynolds. Outside of that, we kind of know what it's going to look like. He's been injured since week 11. I think that's the Alex Anzalone one. That sounds about right. Week 11. I don't know exactly on the top of my head. Deanne, is there any chance where Aaron Glenn could take an approach? Wait, I got to read that again. Is there any chance where Aaron Glenn could take a whole other approach to this game? Something drastically different, like a different approach? I think he'll take it. If you mean like versus every game, yeah, I think it'll be unique. I think that's one thing about Glenn is like, I know I did the video yesterday about the defense. And I talked about the aggressive nature and the, kind of the wanting to dictate how the offense plays versus them. But every week he has had like unique looks by team. And I think that's going to show up in a couple ways. Number one, a lot of teams when they play Minnesota, a lot more 2 high safety. There's a lot more cover 6 elements. There's a lot more bracketing in Justin Jefferson. I don't think that's going to change. I think that'll be implemented. I think we'll see that more this week than we had in, past weeks. But it's kind of similar to what we saw last week. Like our unique thing last week was cover 2 blitzing. We don't do that a lot. We don't do that every week, but we did that against San Francisco. So every week there's always like some unique coverage types versus an opponent. There is kind of always the foundation of man coverage and man blitzing and cover 1. There is that foundation that they always kind of get back to, but there's those different wrinkles that are constantly in there for different opponent. Indianapolis had palms covered. Like there was different specific types of coverages that were implemented. So I expect to see that. The other thing I think that we're going to see that I think is going to be unique for this team, especially, because I haven't really went back to our last Vikings game yet. That's the thing that I'm going to do before I go to my preview because I watched their games, the recent games, and I go back to the last time we played them, see what they did. I haven't did that yet, so I don't remember exactly. I can check it out, but I do think, especially when you look at the Vikings recently, I think one thing that we will see for sure is potentially some more simulated pressure. I know the Lions want to blitz. It may be more straightforward like that. I think regardless, we're going to get guys coming from the second and third level in this game on third down because I think the one thing that the Lions, when you watch Sam Darnold, is the Lions know they don't have the best pass rushing front with 4. Like they understand that. But there's opportunities to win. You can get pressure on this team. You can beat some of these guys. You can beat Cam Robinson. You can win on the interior. You can win against O'Neal. Like you can get wins against this. You can win against Eddie Grant at right guard. You can definitely get wins there. But I think that they know that's not their biggest strength. So they're not going to just like let that be the case. And you wouldn't typically anyway. So I think there's definitely be second and third level guys that are coming. But the big thing, the big thing that I think we're going to see is definitely disguise coverage in this game. I don't think every game it's always as useful. I think it's useful against Minnesota based on just how their concepts kind of level out, high, low, or, kind of everything like a drive concept, everything kind of working one direction. him getting kind of the field cut in half on him where it's like boom, boom, and then it's to the third. And I think for the Lions, they'll be confident if they can get him to the third that even if they don't have the best pass rushing front four, that they will get some pressure. And they may lean on that in this game. So I think if they're confident enough that they're going to get pressure with their four, which I think they should be, if they can get him through three reads, basically. Sam Darnold does it quickly, but my assumption would be we're going to see some real disguise coverage, especially on those third downs. Because that has had success against Minnesota, that has thrown off routes, that has forced Darnold to hold the ball, and I don't think their pass protection right now is elite. I think it's very good. I think they're one of the better pass pro teams. When they had Darisaw, I think they were one of the best in football, but I think right now they're good. I think right now they're good. I don't think they're great. I think they're good right now. I think they can definitely be had up front, but I don't think it's going to happen I think it's going to struggle to happen if you're playing cover one, you have a robber on the play, and you're only bringing 4, and we can't get him to a third read. If he's going 1-2, it's going to be hard, I think, for us to create a lot of pressure there. Hopefully someone steps up and proves me wrong. So I think it's going to be there. You're going to have to get him to 3 a lot. And that's where disguises and different players dropping out can help you there. Just kind of force him away from something that he thought would be their pre-snap that's just simply not. So it just takes a little bit more time. Or that's where you get to straightforward, just bringing extra rushers. Because that's typically the plan that Glenn leans into. But I think that'll be a unique case, is that disguises work. And third down defense, it may be a little more creative than what it typically is. Like I think of last time we played, Minnesota, the big interception that Branch had when they kind of switched off the route over the middle of the field. Switching routes is very crucial. That's another little element. Switching routes happens against Minnesota because, like us, they use motion well, but they also against man coverage put a lot of stress on you through their fast motion pre-snap. So we saw a team like Green Bay switching off routes last week. I think that'll show up again in this game where the Lions are going to have to switch things off. Last time we played this team, they did it with the safeties. I think we're going to see that again. That's going to be a unique element. There's going to be some real switching, especially after last week. The way that San Francisco creating some issues for us against motion, it wasn't even fast motion. It was just alignment issues. I think there's going to be some active switching in this game, and they have to be on point there. They got to be better at corner than they were last time. Yeah, he's not Darisaw. Darisaw's been a dog. Darisaw's a dog. Cam Robinson, not a dog, but not bad. He's had a good season, to be honest, but they could be had up front. Definitely changes some things up. Charles, is it your birthday? I missed that. How do y'all know his birthday? Charles, how do people know your birthday, man? Get some birthday cakes in the chat for Charles, man. Can we get some birthday cakes going? Come on, man. Charles, I see you. Hey, I love that, man. Happy birthday. Serious question, what's going on with Mosley? Well, he's sick this week. I don't know what he's dealing with, but he's sick this week. So I guess there's that. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't know because he's been healthy. They played him on special teams. They haven't put him out there on defense. And I get it. I get it to an extent. But I think the most concerning thing is that they are choosing not to go to Mosley, but at times they're going to Vildor. I don't have an issue with Vildor's actually had probably his best season. I mean, Vildor in limited snaps maybe has had his best season of his career this year. Like, let me actually check how many snaps he's had. I don't even know, but that sounds crazy saying it out loud. But it's been one of his best. He's played really well when he's gotten on the field. He's had some like, oh, that wasn't great. Like we remember those moments, but I don't think he's been terrible this season. How many snaps has this dude played? He's played 220 snaps. Okay, so that's a solid amount, man. 144 in coverage. He's allowed a 73 passer rating. He's had a pretty good season. I mean, in terms of results, he's had a pretty good season. But it's still concerning that you would never really go to Mosley in that spot. It always would be Vildor. That'd be the biggest concern. Like when they took Terrion out last week, you could have went to Vildor in that spot. But you know what you have, and you could have went to Emmanuel Mosley in that spot, but you went to Vildor. You know what you have in Vildor. So I get that, but that's the biggest concern because outside of you taking out Terrion or there being an injury, I can understand how it's going to be hard for Mosley to find the field. Like I'm not going to put Mosley in the game. Like think about it. I'm not going to put Mosley in that slot. That way I can put Branch at safety and take Iffy off the field. Like, that won't happen. I'd rather have Iffy on the field. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But at the same time, I say that because I don't know what the heck Mosley looks like. Like, if you told me Mosley looked really good in that nickel role in the slot, if he looked really good there, which he hasn't really had much of a history of doing, and going back like I think 2017 he did a little bit. Like, you'd have to go back years when he did it. If you told me he looked really good there, or if I got to see him and I was like, man, he looks kind of darn good there, maybe you could make that case because Branch might give you a little bit of a better matchup piece on tight ends than if he does, because I don't think Iffy's man coverage right now is great. But because I don't know what that looks like, I do know Iffy's a great blitzer. I do know that he'll play the run really well. I still really like him in zone coverage. He's just been a little bit less than maybe what I've hoped in man coverage. So I don't think that switch can be made based on what I know, but based on what they know, they would have to make that change. So as a fan, I don't think there's a lot that I can look at. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a lot that I'd have to go back to his, last film of playing. But this year, I mean, I liked his old film a lot. You know what I mean? If I knew I was getting the same guy that I got the last year with Sanford when we first signed him, I'd be shocked. Like if he was coming off of that year and we had him this year, and you told me he hasn't played, I'd be a little bit like, really? Like, I mean, I like Arnold too, man. I was my favorite, my favorite corner, but I would have got him on the field at some point. But at this point, I don't know. You know what I mean? At this point, I have no idea what it looks like. So just he may not look the same. I don't know. But I guess in terms of this weekend specifically, he's sick. But I would say don't count him out because you never know. Things happen fast. I don't want it to happen, but things happen fast. You get into a playoff game, bam, 2 guys are out. All of a sudden, he's on the field. Just like that, he could be on the field. So I wouldn't cross him out, count him out, because there is a path towards these guys getting on the field. I'll tell you what, Mosley's typically active. I'll get the positive for Mosley is that Mosley's not coming in very often as a healthy scratch. We'll see if that changes. But even when he's not playing on defense, he's still healthy, he's still active. So at some point, he may be called upon. At some point, he may be forced into a game. So I won't count him out yet, because it could happen. And especially now with that safety where we're much lighter, with Brandon Joseph being let go and having guys like Maurice Norris stepping in now to the active roster, who I like, but I mean, man, that guy's an undrafted rookie out of Fresno State. I don't know what that's going to look like. It could happen. I don't know. Everything's on the table. Is Aaron Glenn as good as we say he is? I feel like we could get a better DC, or I'm completely wrong. I think it's hard because I'm going to be honest. It's going to be a tough question for me to answer because I don't have a great comparison. I'm just going to be honest. I don't go through and watch other teams all 22. So if I told you that but this guy over here, what he's doing, I don't know. You know what I mean? So I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying if I said that. I only can really speak on Glenn and what I feel about Aaron Glenn. The only time I watch other teams' film is when I watch us preparing for that, really. I don't really watch other teams all 22 unless I'm preparing. And if I think about a lot of these other teams, I think you got teams like Indy who are kind of okay, this is what we're going to do. And that's just what they do. They play kind of the same. They have the same style. They use it over and over. We do that to an extent, right? So there's teams like Indy where I think you get kind of the same looks all the time. You kind of know what to expect, play in and play out. Most teams have kind of their bread and butter, and you can kind of anticipate what they're going to go into. I would say I think Houston is coached really well on the defensive side. And I think we saw that up close. Houston, to me, is coached very well on the defensive side. I think LA's a unique team. I think LA's defensive scheme is very unique. I like watching them. You'll get teams that maybe do a little bit more with their D-line, in terms of how can we disguise fronts. But I think a team like LA's unique because I don't think a ton of teams run that much match coverage. The Rams kind of major in match coverage, which is unique. And they have a very unique cornerback room. It's built, in a different way, but they run so much match coverage that so much of their stuff kind of turns into man. And I think that's the tough coverage to deal with because it doesn't give a lot of just wide open windows, but there's a few teams that do that. So I think there's different styles. We know Minnesota this week, super unique. They still have kind of their foundation. I'll have to go back and look at our last Vikings game, but there's a lot of cover 3 there still. Their most known thing is hey, give them the zero pressure looks, and then we're going to bring everybody, or we'll drop out Andrew Van Ginkel a lot of times, or Jonathan Grenard will drop out, that kind of thing. That's their thing. And then Mutel is playing in as a sub-package backer. That's kind of who they are. That's their creativity. That leads to downside, but it can also be simplified with motion. Motion kind of gives you what you're going to get. You know what I mean? If you watch the Vikings, when you give some motion, you can kind of settle them back into the roles a little bit. You get a little bit less what are they doing? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's hard for me to compare to other defensive coordinators. You know what I mean? But I can't say here's where I like Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn to me has been better. I think Aaron Glenn's grown. I think there's things I don't think are perfect, but if you didn't see my defense video yesterday, you should check it out. Who asked me that? You should check it out because I think that game's a good explanation for even when something doesn't go well. And I think you could look back at that game and say, hey, maybe the plan wasn't good here, Aaron Glenn. And I would say, yeah, you're probably right. The results weren't great. You know what I mean? The first half was pretty rough. But when I watch it, if I take a fair look at it, I didn't hate what he was doing. I watched and I was like, hey, you know what? This is kind of the plan that I think I would have done. This kind of the way that they approached, maybe I would have used more man coverage, I think, in the first half. Maybe I'd have been a little bit more aggressive with my blitzing, but for the most part, a lot of things that I think he went for is kind of what I would have went for. And I think that San Francisco came out and they were Yeah, we're ready for that. And they exposed it over and over. And it was like, oh, snap. Okay, they got something. We had to adjust. But every week he has that. Like, back to my original point, every week there's something different with Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn doesn't have this this little playbook there. It's like, all right, we're going to get to these coverages, and that's all we're going to get to. Like, no, he's got something unique for everybody. He's had, and you know what's crazy about that, too, to add on to the growth? The first time we played Green Bay, a coverage that he kind of implemented for one of the first times this year, some of the match coverage of his own, he didn't bring a lot of that back the second time we played Green Bay. It was unique from that. So a lot of that we know is also based on personnel, who's available, how does that change what he feels like he can run. We get Pittman mixing in last week. It's like, so there's a little bit of a competition there, like Pittman versus Trevor. There's competition between those two, and you want to see what you have in that spot. Ben Neiman kicks to off ball. I think it changes things. Ben Neiman is way different than Quan Alexander or David Long at off ball backer. There's a completely different skill set between those guys. So I think he's a much better just straight zone coverage player. So I think it changes things what they have. But Aaron Glenn to me has grown a lot, and maybe that's just me paying more attention to the detail this year than years past. But I can tell you from the last few years of usually going through the All 22 that I thought Glenn has always been a super trust our guys. He believes in our players more than maybe sometimes I think he should. I think this year he has better players that can kind of play it out in pure like one-on-one spots, where in the past we didn't have that very often. But I'll be honest, if you told me, like, if you asked me, am I happy with Aaron Glenn? Yes, very happy. I'm not great at comparing him. I couldn't tell you where he ranks, but I'm very happy with him because he adjusts. He has something unique for most teams. And, like a lot of the things that work, you can kind of get a sense of what he's going to do, but like, for example, what he did against Buffalo was similar to the first time he played Chicago, was similar to, who was the other team that we played where he was running kind of the same things? I don't even, was it I wasn't San Fran, but the point is like things that'll work against certain mobile quarterbacks, for example. He'll bring that into same kind of games. So there's a playbook, there's different schemes. He's not the same thing over and over, but we definitely know that he has his core. His values are we're going to be aggressive, we're going to dictate coverage, and we want to play man more than anybody else. And I honestly like those things, man. I think the results has spoken for themselves. But San Francisco had answers, bro. Hey, San Francisco was prepared. It doesn't concern me because it's Kyle Shanahan. Like, this guy, there's a reason Kyle Shanahan goes to the Super Bowl all the time. There's a reason he does. There's a reason Kyle Shanahan, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's that quarterback. They're all really darn good all the time. Like that dude's a handful. And I know that they haven't looked great this season. I know the last game, and that's why you should check out my last video. But, man, I'll tell you what, they've had a lot of goofiness in the ways they've lost this year. They've had a lot of goofiness. Like, the first time they lost to the Rams, or no, the Cardinals, when they lost to I remember watching that game, like, how did they lose this football game? I mean, I was hyped because I was like, hey, man, I thought the 49ers would be worse this year, that kind of thing. But you watch that game, like, dog, if they had a kicker, like, I mean, think about it. Moody missed 2 kicks in our game. Now, they were long, but my good, their inability to just find a kicker or have a kicker this year has been a massive problem for that team. That changes everything when you can't make a field goal. That Arizona game, they literally didn't have a kicker available. They couldn't take points. They just had to go for it. Like, they've been through it. You know what I mean? They've been really through it. So that dude's going to be a handful. And I don't think there's a lot of Kyle Shanahans out there. I don't think there's a lot of dudes like that. And I think it's also unique when you don't see a guy consistently. I think it's unique when the Buffalo Bills see the Patriots 2 times a year. And when you get consistency in the organization, they know what it's going to look like. And they're like, all right, here's what we're doing. To me, it's kind of the expansion of when Aaron Glenn sees a guy like Caleb Williams and he sees a guy like Josh Allen. And it's like, all right, we're going to run some similar concepts defensively, to try to keep the quarterback in check. That's similar to how it works is because that's similar to why a team like the Patriots can make it rough. Because the Patriots may not have the talent, but the Patriots are constantly used to seeing it. So they can get back to things they're like, okay, this is kind of our foundation against this team. This is what we're going to do. And I think it minimizes a lot of the, like, what the heck do we do with this team kind of deal? Because all of it, like when we played the Ravens last year defensively, I mean, it was like the same thing over and over. It was bad communication. It was Jack Campbell at Sam Backer. We weren't covering the flats at all. I mean, it was like, if you think about the games we've been cooked this year, it's typically things like that. And that also gives me, I know I'm going on a rant here, I'm about done. That also gives me optimism too. Because when you look at like, look, we'll see how it plays out. I think you're going to be fine. I did the video yesterday, but when you look at like, when we get like cooked, like it's usually not, I'm walking away like, we don't have the guys. You know what I mean? I usually don't feel like that. Now, there are spots where I feel like that, like Ezekiel Turner. Bro, make a play in space. I hate watching that dude just stand there and then watch. It's like, bro, when Purdy scored, it's like, dude, you've done this like 3 times. Like, go get the quarterback. Don't stay. He did the same thing as Josh Allen. But most of the time, I don't walk away like we don't have the dudes. We have like a guy here and he's just cooking him left and right. Like, I don't feel like that. I feel like it's little things. I feel like it's emotion and we're not paying attention to it. I feel like it's a rub route that got us on a big play. And it's like, that shouldn't be that big of an issue. It's little things in the goal line with like communication. It's dumb things on ourselves. And it typically happens where the teams that do that to us are teams that we're not used to seeing constantly. Buffalo, but the Ravens, like the teams that do that are like, oh snap, this is different. And it's like, even if you have the right calls for it, but your player hasn't seen it, like the perfect example is Terrion. Terrion, I don't think was prepared at all to deal with Josh Allen. I don't think he knew like how much it was like, yo, when the play break down, you got to find someone. And then the game happened and it was like, okay, even if he knows he should, you're watching, you're like, yeah, it doesn't look like he's locked into that. Like he's actually aware of how big of a challenge this is going to be. And that thing got out of hand and it was like, this is messy, but it's gotten better since then. But I think from an individual spot too, like that's what it happened to Jack Campbell against Baltimore. I felt like it was like, yeah, this guy, he is being put in the action over and over. It's happened to us in the task teams like Carolina. You know, we dealt with Sam Darnold and it was like, there's nothing fancy going on here. Dude, we got to, you know what I mean? Like they're running a zone read and we're getting torched. We're getting torched on a zone read. It's like, what are we doing? So I think the big thing for me is Glenn. I think he's evolved. Glenn's evolved. I'm happy we have him. I'm not like selling stock on Glenn. I'm optimistic with this. I think this defense is going to do better than a lot of people expect. But I love that spot for this defense, especially this week. I think they're a lot better than people expect. But I love the spot for the defense because I don't think anybody's expecting anything of them. Everybody's expecting that Minnesota's going to score like every possession. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll put up points against us because I think they're just too good. And I think Kevin O'Connell's awesome. Like the amount of times I'll tell you one guy I've watched a lot is Kevin O'Connell. Okay, I've done that because we've had to do the roundtable, so I watched the Vikings game. And man, there are a lot of times it's like, bro, he's just getting dudes open. His red zone, I mean, he's just like, that dude is wide open. That's incredible. So, you know, that guy's a handful. They're going to score because they're good at what they do too, but I don't buy that they're going to score touchdowns every possession. We're going to score like 50 to win. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think we're more used to seeing a team like this. I think we're going to be better. I think we're going to be better than a lot of people expect. I think it's a great spot for our defense because, again, I don't think anybody expects this to have really any good things for. I think most people, now I won't say Lions fans, but everybody outside of Lions expects this to be a disaster for our defense. And I don't think it's going to play out that way. I think the bigger challenge for me is more so not about our defense, because I think our defense is going to get some stops. It's more about the flip side of our offense. How consistent can it be? Because I think Minnesota, the interesting conversation about them is like, how will they tweak things? Because Minnesota hasn't had a lot of success against us. Defensively with Brian, it has been kind of a mess for them against us. We have been so efficient passing the ball against him. If we have any kind of run game that throws everything off, just kind of with his defense in general, we have been very good against that defense. I'm more interested in that side. Like, how does Brian Flores approach this game differently potentially to give us something that we maybe don't expect from Flores? Or is it kind of more of the same? Because I think that's actually been the biggest issue, and that'll be the biggest thing for me, because can they come out and, you know, like they did last time and it was a 10-0 hole? Can they get us into that spot? Because now it could be different with our defense, but if they got us into that spot, like, that's the recipe to winning, is to do that. Two short possessions to start the game, and then we get ourselves into trouble there because now we're in a hole. That's the spot we got to avoid, but I think that's the more interesting conversation. I don't know. I went on a rant there, though. My bad. I don't even know where I was. I'm just going to go back to the top of the chat, and I'm just going to read what y'all are saying. If you're just joining, we went through the practice report. I see King's in the building. My guy, King. Go show King some love, man. Sub to his channel. Hey, I'll be keeping up on the Pistons a little bit. I've been keeping up on the Pistons. Pistons won. Their last game, they won. Like, look, what are they, 15-18? Is that right, King? Let me know. I might be wrong. I might be a little bit off there. But I've been, you know, keeping up a little bit with the Pistons. So, hey, if you keeping up with the Pistons, I know I don't do content on the Pistons, but my man King, because King will do that. He'll keep you, you know, glued to that. 15, okay, look at that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's progress, King, because in the past, like, hold up, I didn't know a dang thing. But, hey, every time, you know what makes me happy? Every time I look at that box score, even if he was shooting like trash, because it's happened, seeing Tim Hardaway on the stat sheet. I mean, it just makes me happy. As a Michigan guy, I was like, I loved that dude at Michigan. That was peak Michigan basketball. That was peak Michigan basketball right there, okay? There was like a stretch there with Beeline where it was money. Okay. And it started with the Trey Burke for me. The Spike Albrecht is the backup, and Tim Hardaway was there at guard. Then he had Glenn Robinson. You know what I mean? He had Mitch McGarry down low, and that was it. That was it right there. I hear a lot of talk about this Sam Darnold's most intense game of his career. Thoughts on him potentially underperforming. Ooh, that's an interesting. I mean, it probably is, man. It probably is his biggest game. He hasn't been in the playoffs yet, so yeah, this means a lot for him. I think it means. Well, here's what we know. We know it means a lot from the outside looking in. So does that change his mindset? I don't know. I hope it does. Hopefully, it makes him do some dumb stuff. But I always think, and I'm probably gonna let you down with this answer. I always think a lot of that stuff is really overblown. Like the idea of like this guy has pressure, and it's like I don't know, man. He might like I think there's a thing of pressure, like we're humans. But I think sometimes it'll get spiraled out as like we can explain things away by the moment was too big, or like, oh man, he had to play on prime time. It's like, wait, hold up. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me, right? Because they checked to a man beater and it was zone. And the guy wasn't open, so he had to throw it away. That's not as big as an impact of the fact that they had to play on Sunday Night Football. Like that's why he missed that. Like, I think that there's potentially an element, but I think it's more usually about that aspect. That's kind of where I'm at with it more than anything. But this is his big. This has to be his biggest game. You know what I mean? And I feel for Darnold, man. I definitely feel for Goff. Like, bro, these guys should be in the MVP conversation. It makes no sense. The odds for them are ridiculous. Shout out to Bet US, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. These guys should be right there at the top of the MVP conversation. It makes no sense. If whoever wins this game, if the quarterback plays well, I don't see how they don't. I mean, it's gonna be hard to say for me to make sense of them not winning the MVP. I don't understand that. Whatever. It is what it is, especially for Darnold, though, because no one thought they were going to be that good. And here they are. You know what I mean? Like, he deserves to be in that conversation. And I'll tell you what, we go into this game, none of that's going to matter. None of that's going to matter because Sam Darnold, he's been good this season. So none of that's going to matter when we play him. That guy's been good. I mean, even like he had a little pass last week against Green Bay where it was like a boot, and he found a check down for 2 yards. And I'm watching it like, man, that's a good play, bro. It was athletic as heck. It looked like nothing was going to be there, and they pick up 2 yards. Another one where he breaks his sack, throws it away, and you're just like, that kind of stuff is tough, man. That's something you got to deal with. Forget all the narratives about it. That's something you got to deal with. Now you're like, oh, we got to get this guy down, right? Like, so he's playing really well. Goff leading the best offense 3 straight years, getting the MVP. It's crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. Or yeah, that's crazy. I don't get it. No, I don't get it. I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't know. I mean, look, it's just not flashy. You know what I mean? He's not flashy. He had some scoot this year, but Chad, he's averaging 1.6 yards per carry. Not much I could do with that. I mean, to be honest with you, look, Chad, I tried. You know what I mean? I tried on Wednesday. I was like, I'm going to put together. Let me see how much Goff really been scooting this year. My boy's averaging 1.6 yards a carry. It's like, oh man, it's not a great case there for 56 yards rushing. I was trying. I was like, maybe I can find some heat. Maybe this guy's got like $150 this year, and it's like, wait a minute, Goff really cooking? Nah, he's got 56 rushing yards. Okay, so that's not eye popping. I'm not gonna go there with it. Okay, understandable. But hey, he's done better this year. Done better scrambling this year. Goff was 403 touchdowns. We win. I mean, yeah, he should get the MVP. He won't. He won't get the MVP because they've already made their decision. Everybody's made their decision. It's Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Makes no sense, but the decision's been made. I don't know. Because here's the issue with it. There's no consistency, right? Last year, didn't Lamar win it last year? But his defense was the best in football. Right, so there's no consistency with like how much the supporting cast actually matters, how much does it not matter. It's not flashy. You won't get the MVP. You know what I mean? You won't get it. And it is what it is. Like, I don't need an MVP to remember. I hate the Pro Bowls. You guys see the Pro Bowl rosters? Real quick side note before I go to this receiver. Y'all see the Pro Bowl rosters? I'm happy a lot of our guys got in there. But like I'm just like, what? Like Kirby Joseph didn't make the Pro Bowl. I don't know why there's one free safety on the NFC side. Why is there one free safety, number one? And then two, like, Kirby didn't make the Pro Bowl? Like, what does this guy have to do? Hey, Kirby must have said something crazy. Kirby must have texted somebody the wrong thing. You know what I mean? This guy got like 9 interceptions and he didn't make the Pro Bowl? That's crazy. That's crazy work, man. I don't know how that's even possible. I don't know. Like, bro, keep 2 free safeties. Find a way to keep 2 to put that guy in the Pro Bowl. That made no sense when I saw that. Everybody's been getting on the, how did Brian Thomas not make it? Why is Travis Kelce in the Pro Bowl? It's like, yeah, because that thing's a disaster, bro. I mean, you got fans voting on it. You got media voting on it, which isn't any better. You got, I don't even know what the other percentage is. What is it? I don't even know. There's like a third category, which is something else. Madden simulation. I don't know. There's something else in there too. It's crazy. I don't care about none of that goofiness, man. Show me. Has everybody ever looked up who the 50 voters are for the MVP? Is that even public knowledge? That's what we got to do one time. Let's look through who the 50 voters are. And then we'll know how valuable the MVP is. If we're being honest, who's actually voting on this dang thing? I don't, you know what I mean? I don't even know. And who's media? Okay, anyways, I don't know. I gotta ask you another Aaron Glenn question. All right, let's do it. If Rex Ryan wants to DC for Detroit, would it be better to say he can do much better job than Glenn? No. No. If you said that was we could switch those two right now, I would not switch those two. And a lot of that's just because, you're changing things, and I don't think we're in a spot where we need to change anything. I think we just have to keep going in the same direction. I think one thing that's huge for Glenn that supports him a lot is there has been like a lot of growth consistently year after year after year. Defensively, in a lot of ways, this defense has constantly just gotten better and better and better. Not in every stat. I mean, the run defense stats have taken a step back. I think this season versus last year, they were like the best run defense. But for a majority of the stats, numbers have just gotten better and better and better each year. Like they've pretty much have just trended the direction. So you're not going to get that week in and week out. But I think based on that, like if it was the opposite, now there'd be like real concern. But you're telling me basically in theory he's getting better players and defense is getting better. I wouldn't move off the guy because I just think it's going the right direction. And I think he's getting better. He's smart, man. He's learning. He's improving. If I didn't see a dang thing that was different between now and 2 years ago, I'd be like, ooh, okay, well, maybe something does need to change because maybe it's going to be a peak of what we can actually get out of this guy. But it's not. He has different things. There's different elements to the defense. And we hear all these little things about how much, he really tries to learn from everybody else, get ideas from other people, that kind of thing. So I'm with that. And anybody I think that's innovative give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. I think he's been that with still having his foundation of who he is. I wanted to show this stat because I thought this was crazy. So this was on Friday over on Bleacher Report. We did this show, and I talked about the Lions' biggest weapon. Definitely check it out. It's really good. We talk about golf. We talk about all those things. Definitely check it out. It's 30 minutes. But I want to show this graphic because Khalif Raymond's questionable, and he may be coming back at some point here. Maybe this week, probably not, but, soon. I want to throw this up because I thought this was pretty cool when I went through this. But I think it also brings up a valid, I don't want to say concern, but it's something that we should be aware of as we go into the playoffs. So this is the Lions receiving core. These are the guys we throw to. It's not everybody on here, but it's majority of it. So you see Laporta's stats this year for a tight end. They're great across the board. He's really good when targeted. He's really good against man coverage. Like, to me, Laporta, his staff's taking a step back. I think that some of it just where the offenses win. I think Laporta's been good this season. I think he's been really good this season. I think he's been an excellent blocker this year, especially in recent weeks. And he's consistently been the guy that beats man coverage. You can see by the stats, 13 of 15, 114, 3 touchdowns. That, for me, was the biggest thing we got, Laporta. Like, we needed man beaters. And that sets up everything to this graphic. If y'all remember, let me know. Back in 2022, we played the Patriots. We got 29-0. There was a lot more issues. Their offense finance, there was a lot of issues in that game. But one thing just going back 2 seasons ago that was a big issue for this team, for me, was, man, we can't consistently beat man coverage. It's like, if we play a team that's really good in man and they can kind of settle into it, we don't have enough beaters for man coverage. And the crazy thing is now 2 years later, heading into the playoffs, look at these stats. According to Player Profile, look at these stats for the Lions against man coverage. I mean, these are great. These are against man coverage. I'm going to read these off. The Lions are first in receiver target separation. Now, some of that's decision-making for Goff, throwing it to the guy that's open, 2.27 yards. They have the highest completion percentage in the NFL against man coverage, 74%. 144.5 pass rating against man coverage, first in the NFL. And then you can see their pass rating against zone is not nearly the same. And then on PFF, you can go to PFF, first receiving grade as a team. The Lions have 5 drops this year as a team. Now, those can be a little bit subjective. I've charted drops before. They can be subjective. But for the most part, as long as it's not a pass pickup, it's considered a drop. We've had 5. The second lowest in Goff's career was 14. In the regular season, he's got 5. It's by far the best in football. That is a crazy jump from where we were just 2 years ago. Now, here's the concerning aspect, or the aspect that I think we all should keep in mind as we hit the playoffs. 93.1 against zone. That's important because, one, majority teams are running zone now, right? So there's that aspect. But two, it's who are the guys that we trust in those spots. I think going forward, it's going to be really good here as well because St. Brown has still been amazing against zone. I mean, you can see his stats. He's outstanding. St. Brown is amazing against zone. He's typically the guy that eats there, right? He finds the windows. He's great there. But that, to me, is an underrated element of we talk about like the loss of Josh Reynolds this offseason was what he did against zone. Because I think a lot of times Josh was kind of like the number 2 against zone coverage. Now, it depends on the zone coverage. But like if you're specifically thinking about like the guy that finds space over in the middle of the field. Not as much the guy that just goes and wins one-on-one on the outside. At times, sort of that. Like we saw last week, Saint was wide, and he caught it between, cornerback and safety and zone coverage. It's kind of that. Like if it's cover 3, it's kind of like you're manned up, so it's still zone, that kind of thing. But mainly like the guy that's going to separate level 2 and find the windows, right, and understand timing and really open up the intermediate levels of the field against zone coverage. I mean, to me, that is where you feel the loss of Josh Reynolds. And I'm not saying that we don't have answers for it, but I think it's an interesting point to bring up because who's the next guy? To me, right now, it's clearly St. Brown's the one. The next guy becomes Sam Laporta. And then it's like when you're talking, because here's how I look at pecking order. The guys I trust most in zone coverage is St. Brown 1, Sam Laporta 2, and whoever is at running back number 3. Kind of in that order. You can flip running back, tight end, because a lot of times the running backs eat against zone because that's what's open. You check it down, there's nobody on him. Pick up some things after the catch. You got good guys after the catch there. So that's kind of your 3. But Jameson, as Jordy points out, that's the area of growth for me. That's the next step of growth for him. And he's gotten a lot better. Like we're talking about those like intermediate levels. He's gotten a lot better there. Like last week he had the deep in route. And you're watching him, and what he's not only running his routes better, but the way he kind of like slows himself down over the middle of the field to make sure that he's a target for Goff. And it's like, bro, that's great. He's like pacing himself. He's making himself a visible option. But for me, where the area of growth is still needed is like the awareness sometimes of like, okay, this guy's on top of me. Let me pull my route back. That kind of opening myself up. Like we see from Saint all the time. He'll kind of drift his route back. Gibbs has done a really good job of that, and Goff has done an excellent job of that. But I think finding who that next guy is at receiver specifically, when we need him in big spots, who is that going to be? Who's going to come through? And I think statistically, it's actually been Tim Patrick. Historically, it's usually Tim Patrick in zone because he's a underneath run after catch kind of guy, does a lot of things with the ball in his hands, and he's great off script. So typically, he's the guy that gets open in those spots. But in terms of like just consistently finding the window in the second level, who's that guy? Because usually there were so many plays where Josh would come through, we'd go bunch, team would go to zone, and there's a lot of disguise on third down. And it's like, all right, he could find the window, and he'd make a great catch. He has this huge catch radius, and it was like he would be the guy that you trust in those spots. I mean, I think back to, you guys remember the catch that he had against San Fran, or not San Fran, Kansas City week 1, where it was like 2023 week 1, it was a huge third down. And Goff threw it like behind him because he had to throw it behind his zone defender, so he threw it behind Josh, and Josh just like reached. My bad. I don't know what that was. Am I still muted? Am I still muted? I should be good. But anyways, to me, that's going to be the big question going forward as we hit the playoffs. So like, who's going to be that dude? Who's going to be that dude for them? So that's the thing that I would circle. All right, I would circle that. But the fact that they become this good against man coverage and the numbers kind of, I'm good now. Okay, cool. I appreciate that. My bad. I don't know what happened. My thing said the server or something. The server. What are we talking? I don't know. It muted my mic though for whatever reason. But that's the thing I look for. But the fact they've taken that many strides against man, and this was like a full video to me on why that like the passing offense was the Lions' biggest weapon. Check that video out because I kind of elaborate on that more. But that was a huge part of it because I think right now to think about how much we've grown is like, this is why I'm really confident in this passing attack. It's not because they'll score every possession or they have the best 2 receivers or best quarterback, like best offensive line. Like it's none of that. It's just that to me, there's not a great like way to play us and just take us out and just make us like, okay, they don't have answers to this. And when you have Ben, it's like we can find ways to win against, I think, any looks that you give us. The biggest thing to that is, though, the zone coverage is the biggest area to answer of who's that kind of the next guy up once you get beyond those 2. That, to me, is the biggest question beyond the biggest question about all of this. But it's a good question to have because the man coverage answer has been there, and I think that's why we've seen them so good against great pass defenses this year. Like, I even went through in that video, like, our top pass defense we see: Minnesota, the 140 pass rating, Green Bay 109 pass rating both times. That's the top 11 pass defense. San Francisco, now they're 12th in pass rating allowed, but they were top 10 before we played them. Goff was outstanding in that game. Seattle, he was perfect passing the ball. That was a really good secondary on paper, perfect passing going there. And they were pretty good statistically going in that one, if I remember right. And then they've kind of fallen off, but I mean, he didn't throw an incomplete pass. So I think that's the big difference, man, is I don't think there's just a way to take us out of it. But in terms of like consistency, when every play matters and it is third downs and it's third down and 8 and they're in a zone and it's not who wins one-on-one and you got to find a window, it's like, can guys like J-Mo become more consistent and you have that feel between him and Goff? Or is that Tim Patrick that becomes that dude? Because at times he has been that guy, specifically on the inbreakers. Like, who's going to be that guy? Because in the past it was Josh. Tim Patrick's throwing the ball more. His size, especially against a short defender. Tim's done a really good job this year. Tim's done a really good job. I think here's the issue with Tim, though. There's a lot of rests where he doesn't get open. And that's okay. But there's a lot where he doesn't get open, especially the further downfield. You saw it last week a little bit. I've seen it in past games as well. I saw it against the Bears a lot when he was matched up on Jalen Johnson. A lot of aspects where he just doesn't get open. He's not the best route runner. He's not the best in and out of breaks. He's not incredibly explosive, in and out of breaks. He's not super sudden there. So the further downfield you get him, and then you have a guy like Jalen Johnson, for example. You get guys like that are really good at off man. There are times where he just gets cut off and the route just shuts down. So there's definitely examples where I think we don't see him, but there's a reason. It's because he just doesn't get open. Like, even if you go back to, what was the game before? The game before half. I think it was Chicago. Chicago right before half. Like, the first play we tried to hit a chunk to Tim Patrick, and it was not open at all. And I think it was Jalen Johnson. He just kind of sat on the route, took him away. Actually, I'll show you the example. I can pull it up. That's the kind of thing with Patrick, is like, he's not always open. Just being honest, he's not like a constant separator. There's limitations there, but he's so good after the catch. That's why the level 1 stuff is so valuable, because he's really good once he gets the ball in his hands, and he can get off the line pretty darn well as well. Like, he does those two things pretty well. If Goff throw a perfect game Sunday, Goff should win MVP. I'm telling you, man, you got to tell the people that are voting. I think somebody threw it in here, but I missed it. Let me see. Somebody said it. They don't even have a set criteria. Oh, yeah, they don't. It's a disaster. But there was someone else who said it. I don't know who said it. Okay, I missed it. Yeah, King's in the chat. Shout out to King, man. King, how you doing, King? You feeling better, man? How you doing? I want Tim Patrick. Okay, I already read that. I want to show you the clip, though, because this is going to be stuck in my mind unless I show y'all. So I'm going to show you guys this clip. This was against Chicago. This is what I mean about Tim Patrick. And I love Tim Patrick. Like, y'all know, I'm a Tim Patrick guy. I mean, we that was one of the guys that we did a video on before we signed him, because we were trying to figure out receiver, and it was like, hey, that guy. And, he was picked up, and he's been amazing. And statistically, if you're looking at it just from a production standpoint, he's basically been what Chark and what Josh were for us, sometimes even more, especially for a little stretch there. And then he kind of went quiet again, but that's what those guys were too. They would have, like, big spots. They'd come through in clutch moments, and they'd have other games where you didn't see him at all. They didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Tim Patrick on field receiving. Here we go. I think hopefully this pulls it up. Tim Patrick receiving. No, not every receiving play. I need him targeted on the play. Not every. Okay, second quarter, that works. Take me to second quarter, and then play result. Passing attempt. I'm just gonna scroll down to the play. I'm just gonna scroll down to the play. All right, here it is. It's right. Where is it? Right here. This is the play. I'm gonna show this on the screen. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing. Like, if you don't look at this portion of it, you don't see these things. So this is a good opportunity to kind of show you. So this was the first play. This was the play right before half, and we ended up getting down there anyway. Oh, not like that. But we tried to take a shot to set us up. And this is actually perfect, because this is what I was talking about, that second level kind of intermediate range. So they're going to go to Tim Patrick. I believe he runs like just a deep dig route here, deep in route here. And you're going to see how he's covered up. Jalen Johnson's really good in off man. He's a physical. We know he's a super stout corner. And just watch how this gets covered. He sets down on his break right here. You could see that it takes a little bit to get in and out there. It's not as smooth, and it's just taken away. But this is awesome coverage, by the way. But you can see he kind of gets set down in front of, and this is just not open at all. That's really good coverage, right? Give credit to Jalen Johnson. He's one of the better corners. But it's also kind of just, in a nutshell, an example of, like, sometimes it's just not open. That's why we don't notice it. That's as an example of actually kind of the situation that I'm talking about. So we'll see, because that's where Josh came through a lot, and he was so long in those spots that he'd help us a lot. And then Chark was that guy, but they all were different. That's also the other positive, is that Chark was not the same as Josh. Josh is not the same as Tim, but they all were productive. So the Lions have found a way to make them all productive. I'm just talking about like a specific example of second level, because Khalif will separate level 1 in zone, right? He'll get open in those spots. But Tim Patrick has been really successful. He's really good off schedule. St. Brown wins everywhere against zone coverage. Sam Laporta is kind of the number 2, and the running backs are usually really good in those spots. But it's like the second level of the field, when it's not Saint, who is it? Because to me, it's then Sam Laporta, and then it's like, okay, then who is it? Can it be Jameson more consistently? Can it be that? Because Jamo's been really good against man coverage this season. If you look at his number, I had him up here. 10 receptions on 12 targets. We know what he does well. 4th in yards per reception, 2nd in yards per catch, 124 pass rating when targeted. Like we know what he is. We know what he's good at. But the big thing is Khalif Raymond, because Khalif has constantly been a man beater, and Khalif Raymond is actually going to potentially be coming back soon. So even to add to that whole man aspect of like, Khalif was good against zone too, but like Khalif was great against man. Like there'll be a lot of times where he just doesn't get the ball because like, he's a little bit smaller the further you get him downfield. But that dude gets open, and we get into a spot where a team wants to play man a lot. As good as these numbers are, it'd be nice to have that piece, because you'll be like, just go to that guy. Heck, maybe it's Allen Robinson. I mean, we saw him last week. He won 1-on-1. That's kind of Allen Robinson's game, is go beat up zone coverage. Maybe Allen Robinson becomes that guy in the big spot. Like we have options, right? But Jamal's constantly going to be on the field. Maybe it's Allen. Maybe it's Allen Robinson. Maybe I'm overlooking that. I like Allen Robinson. I like Allen Robinson. You know what I mean? I didn't like him. I like Allen Robinson. I didn't like him. Stop. Anyone want to bet that Penny gets a touchdown this game? Hey, chat, hold up. You know what I mean? You bet with Charles. You know what I mean? He's throwing it out there. He's throwing the option out there. MVP is a narrative-driven award. Don't sweat the MVP stuff. It's crazy work. Dell's telling it like it is. Appreciate you, Motown Mitch. I think Goff will have to throw a perfect game. Create some turnovers to win this one. Yeah, I hope he doesn't have to throw perfect games. I think we'll lose. I think they're going to get us off the field a couple times. I think the Vikings just have a good enough defense. Like even when Griffin's in there at corner, they're well rounded. Cashman's back. I don't think they'll be awful against the run, but I think we'll find success running the ball. I think we'll be able to lean into it. But they're going to get us off the field a couple times. Like I'm pretty confident they're going to get us off the field a couple times, and I think the defense will get us off the field a couple times. So I think it'll hit the over, but I think both teams will get off the field a few times in this game. It's just going to be some thin margins, man. There's no doubt it's going to be some thin margins. It feels like it's going to be, kind of like the first game in the sense of like, think about the two big plays. It was a fumble from Monty that gave them the touchdown and really gave them the lead and made it a game, because otherwise it was kind of over, it felt like. And then it was the flip, because we kept holding them to field goals. I mean, last time we played this team, was holding them to field goals was everything. So do that again. Get off the field on third down. I don't even know what their stats are. I can look it up, but it doesn't feel like Sam's amazing on third, because you can disguise coverage. You can find success doing that defensively. And when you know they're in 3rd and 5+, that's a great spot, because all of a sudden, like, you don't have to have a safety down in the box. You get 2 deep safeties. Everything kind of becomes available to you, and you can throw some things off. There's no doubt. But that was the difference in that game. And then clutch guys came through a different time. I remember Rodrigo made a big play there. Like, we just had kind of random guys. Jay Houston came through a couple times. Who's going to be our James Houston? Who's going to be the guy that just creates a big pressure that we weren't expecting? It's like, that was awesome. Thank you for that guy. Who is that? Is that Muhammad? Maybe it's Muhammad. Muhammad's been played a lot. Maybe it's Muhammad, that guy. Maybe it's Miles Adams. But it was the fumble, and then it was the flip side where we got the ball back. Because remember, we didn't score. We gave them the ball back. Our defense had to get off the field like 3 minutes left, and Sam Darnold missed the pass on the rollout. The first route was taken away, I think, by Meek, and then he went to the second level on Carlton, and he missed the throw to Carlton. He threw it like high, and it was incomplete. And that was the difference. Like those two plays. We both had a bad mistake. There was their mistake. They gave us life, and then we went down and scored. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's what it feels like it's going to be. It's something like that. I hope not. Hopefully it's comfy, but I think it's going to be something like that again. And it's going to be stressful. I'm going to be feeling jiggly the whole game, but at least we're in the playoffs. I'll be telling myself that the whole time. We're in the playoffs. We're good. Calm down. Because I'll be freaking out otherwise. We're in the playoffs. It's not like last year or like 2 years ago, you know what I mean? We're watching the dang Rams game. Like, bro, what, y'all lost this? Like, that was for the playoffs? It would have been a problem. But I'll be good because we get to play regardless, and we haven't lost on the road. So I'm going to feel good either way. I still think we should draft another receiver. I don't disagree with that. I wouldn't have an issue with drafting another receiver. I think it should be on the table. I just started watching receivers today, actually, because our next show on, well, I've watched than before. But our next show is on Draftaholics. Episode 3 is going to be receivers. We've been doing our top 5s. You want to get any kind of draft talk, check that out. It's kind of our early ones. My rankings will change, but right now, that's where I'm at. I watched a couple more today. Running back is pretty deep. Running back's pretty deep, so I think that's on the table. Dude, man, it just getting me into the good vibes watching receivers. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm watching Notre Dame's receiver. I'm watching Ole Miss. I'm like, man, these guys out here, man. You kind of buying it. Like, what could they be? What could they be? You know what I mean? It's getting me fired up a little bit. You saying that. It's getting me fired up a little bit. Why has our defense been atrocious these past 4 weeks? It's confusing. I don't think it's been atrocious the past 4 weeks. I don't think Chicago, our defense was atrocious. Let me remind myself who we even played the last 4 weeks, though. Because the San Fran game, I won't go into that one. I have the video on the San. I really have videos on all these, but check out the San Fran video. I kind of talked about that. I thought we were fine against Chicago. Buffalo, we did a live Buffalo stuff. Buffalo was a live stream that we did. We went into everything, but that was a live stream. So if you want to see that one, that was just a long video. And then Green Bay was too short. The Green Bay one gets overblown. Green Bay is a pretty good offense, but they had 2 very short fields to score touchdowns. We had an interception. And what was the other? There was an interception. There was something else in that game that set them up to score. I didn't think their offense was that great. I thought our red zone defense was clutch in that game. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was pretty clutch to get us off the field when they did. But yeah, I mean, they came out in the second half and they had a 59-yard pass. And then they had a 16-yard drive that led to a touchdown, which was off the interception. And then they had the 30-yard drive that was a touchdown, which was off a turnover on downs when we tried to go for it from our own 31. So, like, to me, and even on with that being said, that was their 2 touchdown drives. So, like, yeah, I didn't think that game was that bad. We were clutch at the end. We got off the field, forced the field goal. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't think it was that bad because they have enough talent. Like, in towards, like, they were going to be more aggressive. They came out and they were, but they didn't cook us down the field. You know what I mean? They had the one big play down the field in the second half, and that was, if I remember, that was kind of it. So I thought that was fine. But the Buffalo one, kind of like I hit on. It was a team that we don't typically play. I thought they did a great job. Buffalo was similar to San Fran. I thought the scheme was great, but Buffalo was different in the sense that so much of it to me was just, it was mistakes. Like, a lot of it wasn't like, oh, we're in bad spot. Like, it was just, we made mistakes, man. You go watch the last game. I implore you to, because there were so many times where we just simply made, I wish I would have made that a video so it's more digestible, but it's there, man. Like, we were in good coverages, and then all of a sudden, something would go way too long. Someone wouldn't blast on the back end, big play. The amount of time, I mean, we had one where they did, here's what Buffalo did. Our Buffalo put our linebackers in conflict over and over. And Buffalo, if you think about where they're really good, because I hear this too, side rant. Everybody talking about Josh Allen as MVP, and they're like, well, I've heard this, chat. I'm gonna address this right now because it's a terrible argument. It's terrible because it's disrespectful to those players. I hear Josh Allen doesn't have enough talent. They have an undrafted free agent at receiver. It's like, wait, timeout. This is where y'all lose me, though. This is where y'all lose me because they're bringing up Mac Hollins. Whatever. Mac Hollins is pretty good. Throw that aside for that. I think he's better than Gabe Davis. You traded for Amari Cooper as a first-round pick. Keon Coleman was a second-round pick. James Cook was what round? Was he 2? I think he was 2. Dalton Kincaid was a first-round pick. Okay, you got Dawson Knox, who we all like Dawson Knox, right? So they have dudes, but where they're really good is tight end, because Kincaid came back and they're good at running back. In the receiving game, they have Ty Johnson, the former line. He was great there. But so much of that was they put our linebackers into conflict. They lightened the box in that game and made us stop the run that way. They spread everybody and they made us stop the run that way. And even when we would come out with good plans, we'd have plays to get them off the field on third down. We'd be in the spot, and then someone late on the play would get open because someone wouldn't plaster it. We'd have some kind of weird communication breakdown. We had one play with Kincaid, one of the big routes, where we didn't switch it off. That goes back to Terrion. This is the kind of thing that needs to get better. When Terrion's put in motion pre-snap, that's where it becomes messy. All right? This is what we said in the video, but I can expand on it. Even if you look at the big Dalton Kincaid play, I can show the play. There was poor communication pre-snap with Terrion Arnold, and it led him to getting the matchup with Dalton Kincaid. Now, look, they could have still made the play, but he didn't switch the route like he was supposed to, and it led to a big play. So we've let me pull that play up. That's an area that he needs to be better, is that kind of thing. But I'm actually gonna pull the play up because I remember where it was. He was how many times he targeted? He's targeted 6 times in this game, 4 receptions. All right, let me show you. Here's the 4 receptions. This was the Dalton Kincaid play. And if I'm remembering this correctly, you're going to see it back. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, 29 yards on this play. And this was a third down and 4. All right, let me pull it. Look at how this plays out, man. This is an area he has to get better, though. Like, I think he's fine in true one-on-one situations. I like him a lot there. I think he can get an interception, but this is the kind of thing that's an issue, right? Look at a pre-snap, okay? He's matched up with Dalton Kincaid pre-snap. Then there's the short motion. Now watch him and Brian Branch. Watch Brian Branch. Terran Arnold bumps down Dalton Kincaid. He's bumping down Dalton Kincaid, and then he runs over top and takes Dalton Kincaid. And now Brian Branch is like, bro, what are we doing? I was bumping over to take that. And now Terran Arnold's on him, and he gives up the C route. That may be given up anyway, but you can see the frustration from Brian Branch here when he bumps him. He's like, I'm going to take the receiver, you take the tight end. And then he runs back over top, and he takes the tight end. And now Brian Branch is like, wait, what are you doing, man? And now he's got the receiver. And then I think after the play, we see Brian Branch, how frustrated he was. We've seen that happen. You know what's crazy about that is how it's not the exact same. But now let me show you what happened last week on the play. Because I showed this in the video, but I can show it again because it's great if you play, I think, these two back-to-back. Look at the big play that we gave up. Because we had him in the third and we had him in the 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7. And look what happens between him and Brian Branch. Now, hey, Brian Branch is now at the slot. Maybe Brian Branch needs to take more of this on himself, make sure that it's more clear communication, because clearly it hasn't been. Watch him again here. So here's the motion across. Notice these are with motions. These aren't straight routes. It's not true man. Well, it is true man, but there's a motion attached to it. Watch this one. Watch him and Branch here. He motions across. I pointed this out. There's no depth for spacing here, so he runs into Branch. And now watch Branch on this whole route. Look how frustrated Branch is. You can see him right here. Like, that's the little things. It's like, bro, that doesn't tell me you can't cover. At least that one. The Buffalo one, he did get cooked. But Dalton Kincaid's a really good player. So, you know, either way, we might have just got cooked there. But that's the kind of thing. Like, that's the kind of little things. I agree. The truth, I agree. Now, you know, Alex will make mistakes, right? Alex will do things where you're like, oh, man, maybe he's too aggressive. But, man, Alex Anzalone is instinctual. His aggressiveness typically leads to a lot of good things. He's made so many instincts plays over the years for us that even I can live with the trade-off. The problem is now I don't think we're getting enough of the back and forth. Like, we may have a mistake, but especially out of that second level, I don't think we're getting enough of the flip side where somebody at the second level is making an amazing play because they anticipated something before it happened. It was like, man, you guys were on that. We're not getting that. We're just getting breakdowns occasionally. That's it. We're not getting like we're getting late communication sometimes, but we're not getting like when Alex would shut down a jet run, he was on top of that. He knew that thing was coming, it felt like. We're not getting that. We're getting that sometimes from the back end. We're not getting it from the second level at all. We're not getting any of the benefit, it feels like. We're getting very consistent play out of Campbell, but we're not getting like these instinctual, above everything, anticipating the play before it happens kind of deal. And I think that's what we need back to that mix, because I kind of try to sum it up like that in the end, but to me, truly, the defense is going to come down to we're going to need some of those instinctual plays because that's where we're at player-wise. And that's where we should be. You know, a lot of these guys have been here for years now. We talk about Aaron Glenn. He's been here year after year. There's a reason it gets better. It's not just because of what he's evolved schematically, but it's also the fact these players have been here. They understand it. They're playing their fastest right now. We see it from Jack. He's playing way faster this year. But that's also where you need guys like Kirby who just adjusted and he picked the ball off. And whoever got in his ear or he told himself, like, yo, I got to stop bailing out here. Whoever made that happen, even if I just give it to Kirby, that's the kind of thing that we do need from all levels now. We need occasional plays like that to offset the fact that sometimes our D-line may not win. Sometimes we may not get pressure with 4. You know what I mean? Sometimes the dude might get cooked in the back end because that's not a great matchup. So we need our safety to kind of jump the route even though dude got cooked. Like we just need a few of those that are going to flip the game. That's what this defense is going to need against some of these best offenses going forward. Just a few of those plays. And I don't think the second level has had a ton of those plays. And I think Alex brings that. Alex will bring it back. He'll make some mistakes too, but he'll bring that back. He'll get beat sometimes, but he'll bring you some of those. He'll bring you some clutch plays. We're like, there you go, Duracell. We see you. Making that play. Hitting that dude. Setting the tone. Audio's choppy? Oh, dang. All right. Well, let me fix that because we got to reload anyway here. Impact players to watch this week. Yeah, we're going to do a preview or a pregame on game day. That's the plan. Is it still choppy? If it is choppy, let me know. We're going to do an audio, or not audio, my goodness. We're going to do a pregame show on game day. That's the plan. I plan on doing a video. The hope is to do a video before the game this week at some point. Let me make sure the audio is working. Why can't I watch? But why can't I watch it? Oh, we got a 1? Oh, we sound good? Oh, I'm okay? All right. You know what? Oh, I might mess it up if I click that. All right, I'm gonna trust you. I'm not gonna click nothing because if I check it to see, it might throw off the audio. So let me not touch anything. I was going to. I'm not gonna touch a dang thing. I'm trusting y'all with this. Okay. Let me see what people are saying in the chat. Impact players to watch this week. For us, I would say, you know, I want to see Alex play, but I don't think he's playing this week. Impact players to watch. I think Terrion, I think had one of his best games against this team. I assume he's going to be put in action a lot pre-snap because of what teams have seen against Terrion recently. I want to see a Meek out wide. I want to see how well that translates because no Carlton's a huge drop-off after not a huge drop-off, but it's like Carlton, I think, matches well with Justin Jefferson. Not having him stinks. I've been hearing Terrion's been talking some trash, though. Is that true? Does anybody know if that's legit? I didn't know that was a thing, but I heard Terrion is like talking a little bit of trash, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at it. Puts Vikings receiving core on notice with 6-word message. Okay, no way. I'm fired up for this. Hold up. Let me look. I haven't seen this yet. He put the receiving core on blast. Okay, hold up. We got to pull this up. Shout out to Athlon Sports. Gibbs is the best. Gibbs is a dog. Gibbs is a dog. I think we're going to lean heavily into Gibbs this week. Here we go. What? Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, that is freeze every... Wait a minute. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have clicked. Wait. Don't do me like that. Oh, okay. Now we're good. Okay, now we're good. I shouldn't have clicked anything. That's where they got me. Wait, I thought I stopped sharing. What in here? Hold up. I got to stop the sharing. I was sharing for a second. All right, let me just find the dang message. I don't know what that was. The message, what did he say? I want to see now. Let me close that tab. That tab was going crazy. Whoever posted that, man, I don't know what. All right, hold up. Let me see. Terrion Arnold. What did he say? 6-word message. Okay. He said, "We're a bad matchup for Minnesota. They got receivers, but we got cover guys." Wait, who did he say that to? On Wednesday, most impressive came with bulletin board material. Okay. Who did he say that to? Was that just like a rant? Wait, there it is, like post this or something? What are you doing? On Wednesday, when sent a blunt message. I don't know. I don't. Okay, I guess he did that. I guess that's what he said. I don't. He just said it. Okay. He said we're a bad matchup for Minnesota. They got receivers, but we got cover guys. I'm not mad at it. I think as a corner, you have to be ultra cocky. You know what I mean? Like a Meek was before the Raiders game, and well, I wouldn't say he was ultra cocky, but he fired back a little bit on X. You know, rightfully so. But I think as a corner, you have to be. You know what I mean? Different positions are unique. As a corner, bro, you better be confident. You go out there without confidence against Jefferson, you're about to get cooked. You know what I mean? You'll never respond. You're going to get cooked a few times against those dudes. There's no doubt. But you get an interception like Brian Branch had, that changes everything. So you got to be confident. You got to be confident. Hey, it don't matter. We got cover guys. Hey, that's got 50 yards. It don't matter. We got cover guys, dog. And then you make a play. That's it. Just make a play. We could use that. So is everyone coming back this weekend on defense? I don't think Alex is. He's still questionable, but I don't think Alex is playing this weekend. And then Mosley's out with illness. Outside of that, Jalen's back last week. Is there any? I mean, we have the guys on IR that haven't started their practice window, but guys that started their practice window, I don't think Alex is going to play. But outside of that, I think it was an Insta story. Oh, he just posted that on Instagram? Terrion, what? Did you say that, or did you just like type the? So he went on Instagram and just typed that message. Terrion, what are you doing, dog? Nah, that's like one of those things you say back to someone if they ask you. Like, cause then I get that. Like, if a media person is like, "Yo, Terrion, you got to deal with those receivers, man. How you gonna handle that?" Man, they got good receivers, but we got cover guys. We're a bad matchup for the Vikings. Like, all right, I got you. You know, that's a little tough. I got you. The story was talked about on Minnesota radio. Then McCarthy reposted it. He had to say that to the media. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because if you just type that, it's so random. That's so random, dog. Like those dudes that you said in those stories were just like a black background. You just typed in the words. Like, nah, dog, you can't do that. That's goofy as heck. That's kind of goofy. You're reaching for some reason there to make some attention. But if you ask a question, I'm at some confidence. Is Kylie Freeman playing? I don't think so. He's questionable for the game, but he's been practicing in full. It wouldn't be bad to have him. It wouldn't be bad to get him going again. I guess would be no. I would guess no. But if we're also basing what Dan Campbell said on Alex, he did say that, you get a week of practice and then you're ready for the next week. That would be Kylie Freeman, right? Kind of, right? Kylie Freeman would be in that spot. I don't think Alex is playing, but it'd be there. It'd be there. So I don't know. Kylie Freeman, I think, probably got a better shot than Alex, to be honest. He doesn't seem ready to play. Yeah, that makes sense. They probably already told him, to be honest, but they probably already know. He'll be back for the playoffs. I think that's okay. I think here I can show you guys the Dan Campbell clip if you haven't seen it. It was pretty straightforward. It sounded pretty straightforward. The guy wasn't going to play. I mean, it's kind of yeah. Like the way that he just worded it was like, okay, I don't know how anything changes between now and then. Sounds like you already made your decision that the dude's not playing, and I'm okay with that. But that's he didn't really leave the door open for like, well, if we see a good, if he looks good on Saturday, he didn't do that. He was kind of like, yeah, dude's probably next week. It's kind of how it was. And here's the clip. Here's the clip. I'll skip ahead. He talked about the inverted jumping jacks, which is crazy. But here we go. Okay, I can't hear it. You know what? I'm not gonna play it. I can't hear it. I'm not gonna play it. That's what he said though. What's up, Dose? Just got off work. What's with the Lions? What's new? Man, not a lot's changed, man. Not a lot's changed. Just waiting for it to happen. You know what I mean? Wait for the game. Not a lot's changed between now and then. I'd say injury wise. I think everything's kind of as expected. And then for the playoffs, hopefully we get Duracell back. It sounds like he'll be back for that. But yeah, I don't think anything's changed on Lions front unless I missed anything. Haven't made any big moves yet. But I do have, and I don't know if this is. See, okay, this has changed. This happened over like the last week, or the last couple of weeks, maybe. I think it was over the last week, maybe in the last 2 weeks. This happened. I'm gonna post it over here. So this is Shot to Bet US, man. Use code YouTube150, 150% deposit match. Go to their website. Use that code YouTube150 to get your 150% deposit match up to $2,000 and 125% of the next two deposits up to $2,000. They have updated the Super Bowl odds to win, and now the Lions are second. I think at one point they were plus 250. I remember I made a community post, and I may post this one, that the Lions were plus 250. They're now plus 400, so this might be your best spot to get them at. But they have moved Chiefs to the favorites. A lot of that to me is probably the bye week. I think the most disrespectful thing with this is the fact that the Vikings aren't on there. Like, I'm going to be honest. If I'm a Vikings fan, this is disrespectful. How are we not in the top 5? I mean, that was just because we can get the 1 seed. And I feel like the big thing that changes Kansas City is they locked the 1 seed. Most people believe that the AFC is better than the NFC. I mean, you got the Bills, you got the Ravens up there. So for me, if I'm the Vikings, I'm frustrated with the fact that we are not in the top 5 here because it doesn't make sense. I have a chance to go get the 1 seed. If we get the 1 seed, we may jump in here. But like, why is Philly above? To me, why is Philly above Minnesota? You know what that might be? That might be a path thing. It might be a path thing because I think there's a pretty legitimate chance that if whoever loses this game is going to play they're going to play the top or the worst division winner. So they're probably going to play the Bucks. Could be the Rams. Actually, could be the Falcons, which would be ideal. I think both of the teams would prefer the Falcons over the other two. Honestly, none of them worry me. I think the worst team might be the Rams. I'm just going to be honest. But they're coming off rest, so that'll help. We kind of know who they are. I think their coverage is more tricky, though, and their defense line's better. I think the Bucks are scary because how much points they put up, but I don't think they're that great. Honestly, I don't think the Bucks are that great. They're just feisty. I think the Bucks would be the easiest team to beat. I don't know. I could be wrong. We lost 2 once. So, but I think the Bucks would be the best. I don't know. But it's all on the road. And the thing you got to take into account is Atlanta's in the dome. Bucks is probably going to be warm weather, you would hope. But I don't know. Maybe that's not. I don't know what Florida's looking like right now. And then LA is going to be kind of in like a dome thing. So your weather should be fine either way. But then I think if you win that game, I think that you would likely get the other NFC North team again because then you would have the 6th and 7th seed would have to win to bypass you. Which, I mean, that could be possible, though. Like, could you see Green Bay? Yeah, that could be. Well, here's the thing. I think what's likely to happen is, based on the way it's set up, it feels like it's likely that whoever loses this game, if they win their first playoff game as a wild card, will probably. Whoever wins this game will probably play an NFC North team as their first playoff game. That's what I meant to say. That would be my guess. Whoever wins this game is going to play an NFC North team because the 7 seed would have to win to make that not the case. And that's probably unlikely because the Packers would be the 6th seed and the Packers could definitely win. Win or not, they definitely could. And if they don't win, then it would go to the other NFC North team because they'd be the 5th seed and they'd be the lowest seed at that point. Because I don't think the 7th seed is going to win. Who even is the 7th seed? Is the 7th seed Washington? 17's Washington. Well, I guess maybe Washington. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's most likely that the NFC, whoever wins this game is playing a North team again. But maybe Washington. And then, honestly, chat, wait, hold up real quick. Side. Is it a better path? Let's think about this. If we're looking at this from teams that you may have to play, what is the better path? Is the better path losing? Is the better path having to go on the road and go through that path? Or is it who you play if you won the game? Now, I understand you get an extra game and you're at home, which changes it. But if we're looking just strictly at the opponents, could you make a case that it's a better path to be the wild card? I mean, I'd rather be at home. You know, we lost our 2 at home, but I'd rather be at home. Like, I feel like you might be able to make that case. Is there like a NFL playoff bracket thing? I'm just looking at opponents. Like, yeah, you get the extra game, which is not ideal. But if you're just looking at it from opponent's side, I could see play the Falcons. Yeah, see, I'd want to play the Falcons. I'd want to play the Falcons. I mean, I'd want to play the Falcons. I would be shocked if the Falcons get in, but I'd definitely prefer the Falcons. Is there like an NFL? Does somebody got like okay, there's a bracket. Hey, shout the Bleacher Report. I should have known Bleacher Report's going to have some. Okay, here. So, right now they have Minnesota as the 1 seed, which is disrespectful. I don't know how that's the thing. But anyways, so if you're the 1 seed, then you play the lowest remaining seed. Oh, Washington's above Green Bay? Yo, chat, I didn't know that. Washington's above. Okay, because Washington beat Green Bay, right? Wait, timeout. See, now, chat, hold up. I got to pull this on the screen. Wait a second. Y'all got to help me with this. See, I haven't looked at this at all. So Washington plays Dallas. Washington's probably going to win. Unless they're resting people. But I think I took Dallas this week. No, I took Dallas this week. Why did I take Dallas? Did I take Dallas for a did it make sense taking Dallas? Probably not. That was probably a terrible pick. Yeah, no, that was probably a garbage pick. Because now that I'm looking at it, I think Washington's going to try to win. Unless Washington would rather have the 7, but I think they're going to try to win. Green Bay play Eagles unless Washington loses. Yeah, I think Washington's going to win. And then Green Bay plays the Bears. I guess Green Bay could lose. Let's just assume they both win. Washington would then be the 6 seed. Green Bay the 7 seed. Right? So, could Green Bay beat the Eagles? What's more likely? Green Bay wins? Or I think it's more likely that Philly wins. So, let's say Philly wins. And then Washington, LA. I think it might be more likely Washington wins that. I take Washington. So if you were a wild card team, you would then play. So if you're a wild card team, you're playing the best divisional winner, which is probably going to be Tampa. My guess is it's going to be Tampa. Could be LA. I think it's going to be Tampa. I think they're going to win. So you're probably going to get Tampa. Then you would play the other team that won, which would be at Minnesota. And then you'd be in the NFC Championship game against one of these 4 teams, which Washington, Philly might be a rematch, and then you'd get Philly. Yeah, that's the toughest thing in the championship on the road. It probably is better to get the 1 seed, because then the 1 seed, yeah, I think, you know what? I think it is better to get the 1 seed. I don't think there's a good argument for this. I was trying to figure out if it was an argument. I don't think it's a good argument. I was trying to make it make sense. I don't think there is, because if you get the 1 seed, then you're going to play the lowest remaining, which to me probably is going to be Washington out of this mix. So the Lions would play Washington first. Yeah, they probably get Washington first. And then yeah, because I don't think Green Bay would win. I would be surprised. I don't know. Green Bay could win. I don't think Green Bay would win. So you get Washington first, and then you'd be on to the NFC Championship, which would be whoever's left, right? I mean, that'd be Green Bay, Philly. Green Bay or Philly? Is that right? Yeah, I mean, Green Bay, Philly, or wait, yo, hold up. I don't know, dog. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. It's better to get the 1 seed. That's where I'm at with it. It's better to get the 1 seed. Get the 1 seed. You don't want the 2 seed. Get the 1 seed. You get the 1 seed. All right, get the 1 seed. But I will say, the path at a wild card isn't bad. If I'm a wild card, I'm not mad at it, because I'm not. I think we'd smoke Tampa Bay. I mean, I think we beat Tampa Bay by 2 scores in Tampa Bay. Unless that Florida weather's trash. Look, what's that Florida weather looking like? Florida weather. Next week. What are they looking like? 68 degrees? Oh, no. Stop playing. Yo, yo, we can go to Tampa. We're beating that team by 2 scores, dog. We're beating them by 2 scores. We're beating that team by 2 touchdowns. So that's easy money. And then you're on to the 1 seed. Maybe. But if it plays out as it should, you are. If it doesn't play out as it should, then you're not. Then you're on to what? Philly, probably? I'd rather play the 1 seed. I'd rather play Minnesota. I'd rather run it back. If Minnesota beat me, I'd rather run it back with Minnesota in 2 weeks after playing Tampa. I'd rather do that than play Philly on the road. So if I can get, but I'm gonna be honest. Because the weirdest thing for me is, I think Green Bay could really beat Philly. I wouldn't pick them, but I think they could. As much as I've cooked Green Bay and they deserve it, I don't think I'd be surprised if Green Bay beat Philly. I think it could happen. I think it could happen. Hey, how crazy is that? I think that could happen, man. I mean, it would be a little surprising. But Josh Jacobs been running well. You'll have to be able to run against Philly. I think they'll be able to run against Philly. I think they could win that game, man. I think they could win that game, and that would shake everything up. Them beating Philadelphia would shake everything. That would be the thing that makes this oh, snap. Now things are different. True, they could. Wouldn't doubt it. Philly is, see, and that's the thing. Philly's, the Hurts thing is weird. Cold weather cheese. Anybody can get that this year. Facts. We could watch. Now, we'd watch the Packers. I ain't got no worry, but we played Packers again. They don't want the smoke. But they could beat Philly. They could beat Philly. Everybody was believing in Philly for a second. They still should believe in Philly, I think. But no, they could beat Philly. That is weird. The NFC's strong, man. Bro, the NFC's tough. We're talking about Green Bay as maybe the worst team in the playoffs. That's crazy. I mean, just from a seeding spot, they'd be the lowest seed in the playoffs. That's not a terrible team. They haven't beat the best teams. But that Philly game was competitive week 1. I mean, it was week 1, though, too. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think an upset. I think an upset's possible. The upsets don't think that. No, they don't. Everybody loves Philly, but Green Bay ain't winning. I hate Philly, but Green Bay ain't winning. I could see it, man. I could see it. I wouldn't bet on it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't use my bet US dollars on that. I'd go to bet US, but I wouldn't place that bet because I don't trust them personally. But if you told me it happened, I'd be like, I believe it. It was in Brazil. I'd be like, I believe it. I believe that they did. Team like Green Bay could do some goofy stuff, get a couple big plays, they're built on big plays. You're telling me they couldn't have some breakdowns back there in Philly in the back end where they give us some big plays with a young secondary? I could buy that. I wouldn't pick it, but I could buy it. Interesting. The NFC's tough, dude. NFC's better than the AFC this year. Let me check this one more time. NFC's better than the AFC. I think the NFC's better than the AFC. It's hard to say that, though, because the Bills did beat the Lions. So there is that. But especially at the bottom. And the truth is no shot. The truth is your team. Hey, no shot. But if we're looking at it, I think Denver, if the playoffs for AFC is Denver, Chargers, Pittsburgh as your wild card, Houston as a division winner, that is not to me as good as Lions or Vikings wild card, Packers, Washington, and your worst team is the Buccaneers or maybe the Falcons. I think the NFC's tougher, man. I think the NFC's got a gauntlet. So, I think the NFC is way more likely to have upsets. You could see a path where every divisional winner wins in the AFC. That should, outside of the 5-4 game. But I don't know that how many people are actually going to believe that whoever wins that 5-4 game could win next week. I don't know how many people would actually buy into, there's a real path for... I mean, if there's a real path for either of those teams to beat Kansas City. Could Houston beat Kansas City? They were competitive with them, I guess, maybe, but then they lost, Tank Dell, which stinks. Could Pittsburgh beat Kansas City? Well, that was atrocious. So I don't think so. I would be pretty surprised. The NFC's tougher, man. I think you're right. Hey, we might see a lot of that's why it's interesting because home means a lot, but all of a sudden because the only team to me that it feels like it really matters because Green Bay can't win the division. The only team that really matters going on the road, I think, is clearly Philly. If you have to go to Philly, that matters. If you have to go anywhere else, I don't think it's concerning. I don't think it's, you go to Tampa Bay, it's warm weather. You go to LA, it's indoor. You go to Minnesota, it's indoor. You go to I guess no, Washington's going to be they're not going to win the division. None of the teams that are going to be indoors, and then you're going to have a higher seed than Washington and Green Bay, so you'll play them both at home if you had to play them. That's it, man. It's only Philly. So, look, the thing is, like, a wild card you could be fine in the wild card. A wild card team in the NFC could definitely make the Super Bowl this year. I think that's definitely going to play, especially with the weirdness and the fact the Lions are 8-0 on the road and 6-2 at home. Wild card makes sense. Yeah, half the fans would be for Lions and Tampa. Facts. Wild card could win it this year. AFC, I don't think so. I think there's a drop off there. But the wild card definitely could in the NFC. Traveling to Philly would be terrible, but Philly could get knocked immediately. Philly could get beat immediately. Like, I could see that. And if Philly gets beat immediately in the playoffs by Green Bay, anything could happen. If Green Bay beats Philly, everything's on the table. Because now if nobody has to travel to Philly and you keep Minnesota in there, I don't know who's winning LA, Washington. I think that's up in the air. And if we were to, like, go beat Tampa Bay at their house and Minnesota's still in it, and it's like, wait a minute. Now Green Bay's got to go to Minnesota. And then who are we playing? We would be playing what? Who would we be playing? Tampa? No, we already played Tampa. We played Tampa again? Hold on, Tampa running back? Yo, that'd be crazy. Bro, the NFC playoffs are going to be nuts, dude. The NFC nuts are going to be, they're going to be nuts. They're going to be nuts. I'm saying it now. I'm taking Green Bay. I'm going to lay it out there now. I'm taking Green Bay's going to beat Philadelphia. Philadelphia's confident, man. They're resting their guys. Dan Campbell don't rest guys. He just plays them. They're resting guys. They're going to go out there and get beat, and it's going to shake the NFL playoffs. It's going to shake the NFC playoffs. The AFC is going to be a little bit straightforward. The NFC is going to be shook immediately. As soon as that game takes place and that happens, everything's going to go off the rails. Everybody's going to be alive to win the NFC. Everybody. Because I think that's the one thing that everybody's trying to avoid is like, oh, we got to go to Philly? But Green Bay's that goofy team that would beat Philly in Philly. Yeah, hey, real quick. What chance percentage-wise? Give me a percentage. What chance would y'all give Green Bay to beat Philly? What chance would y'all give Green Bay to beat Philly? I buy it, bro. I buy it. No, I buy it. And then, like I said, if I'm the wild card, I want to go to Minnesota. If I have to get the wild card, I'd want to go to Minnesota. So I would, if I ended up with the 5 seed, I would be rooting for the LA Rams to handle business, or if I go to Tampa or LA, whichever one, I'd be rooting for that team. I'd be rooting for division winners at that point. I'd be rooting for that team, and I'd be rooting for Philly to beat Green Bay. If we get the wild card, hold up, no, I don't think I would because I want Green Bay to beat Philly. Timeout. See, that's why it's goofy, because I think it's a win-win, right? Because if I'm the wild card and then I win, and then Green Bay loses, or if Green Bay wins, Green Bay's got to go to Minnesota. But if Green Bay handles business, everything opens up. Everything's open up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking through this live. I haven't really looked into the playoffs like this, so I'm just having fun with this because I didn't know we were going to be live this long, so I'm just having fun with this. But that's interesting. That's super interesting because I don't think you're in a lose-lose spot there. Either you're playing at Minnesota, and then Philly's got to win another game, which they'll probably win, or Philly's out of the playoffs and everything feels like it's on the table. Do you guys know of a thing I can use that can like click different scenarios? Is there like a playoff scenario thing? Playoff bracket simulator? Is it like a 75%, 5%, 65%, 50-50, 50-50, 39.5? Ken already got the calculator out. Ken got the calculator out. 56. Moses, what? 56? 30? It's the truth don't believe. The truth don't believe. The truth don't believe. Wait, who said that? Who said that? He said 56. 56 is fantastic. I love that. 56 is crazy, bro. That's crazy. You're crazy, but 56 is crazy. Nah, there's no like playoff simulator button. Oh man, that's what I want to. Oh, here we go. Simulate remaining games for week 18. Remaining. Yeah. Do that. All right, wait, chat. We're gonna play around with this. We're still live. We're gonna play around with this for a second. We're gonna play around with this. This is playoff. Oh snap! No, this is crazy. This is the playoff game or the playoff game. This is the game. So these are the playoffs, right? They did it. They had Washington win. Tampa Bay handled business, so Tampa Bay win. Oh, they gave us the 1 seed. Wait, I didn't want to do that. Can I do it as if we don't get? No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay. It works. It's fine. I want to give the Vikings the 1 seed just at first. I want to play around with it like that. Let's give the Vikings the 1 seed. See, they even know, even know what time it is. Does that not work? Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I. All right, whatever. We got the 1 seed. We'll just act like we're number 2 as well. Whatever. We got the 1 seed. So if Green Bay beats Philly, and then this one to me is a toss up too. Chad, who would y'all take in Washington, LA? Who would y'all take? I think that's a toss up. I would take whoever the NFC North representative is here. I think this is a toss up though. Washington, LA. Ugh. I think I'd take Washington. I think I'd bet on Washington. And if Washington wins that game, where the heck are the lines? Oh, it's glitched. Hey, it's glitched, bro. It's got the Vikings in both times. That's not good. Okay, wait, can I do that again? Oh, this is not good. It's got them twice. That's crazy work. Okay, get off the screen. It's got the Vikings list. Okay, so this I don't think Tampa will win, man. I'm actually most confident Tampa's going to lose. Because Tampa would be, well, they wouldn't be the favorite, but they'd be the home team. I'm pretty confident they're going to lose. I think this is the weird one. But I think this is possible. I think the NFC, because the NFC North winner is probably going to play Tampa, or loser. I think either the Vikings or Lions would beat Tampa. I would be very shocked if that didn't happen. I think either of those teams would win that game. And then it's like this goofiness, 6-3 feels up in the air. This one kind of does too. So this would be 1 seed in this case would be the Vikings playing the Packers, and then the Lions would get Washington. See, this is the thing. This is the path where getting a wild card might be better. Because if the Lions get to play Washington, I think we'd beat Washington. And it's at home. So now you go to the conference championship. Now it's Minnesota, Green Bay again, which third time's the charm. Probably not. I'd probably take Minnesota. And now all of a sudden you play Minnesota on the road for the NFC championship. That's fire, bro. This might be the most likely outcome. Now, if we flip at these two, though, how does this change it? So if LA wins, and again, remember the 4 seed, we're acting like the 4 seed is the Lions. Yeah, so if the Rams win, then we would play the Rams. Now, that would be on the road, but honestly, that doesn't worry me at all. They'd be comfy there. So we play the Rams and be Packers, Vikings. And then I think it'd go like this again. Now, if we act like the Lions are the 1 seed, so we'll pretend the Lions are the 1 seed here. Vikings are actually the 5 seed. I think the Vikings would still win. I think this one's up in the air. What if I give it to Philly? Then we'd have Lions versus the Vikings. So if Philly wins, it'd be Lions Vikings. And then, yeah, no, look, man, I honestly like that. Yeah, that's a fun thing to do. That's fun. I don't know. I think every wildcard team could win. That's what I'll leave. I think every wildcard team might end up winning in the NFC. That's what that looks like. Number 1 seed and win the Super Bowl, I will die. That's a promise. Well, no, don't do that, Mike. We don't want that to happen. But I think it's possible, man. Like this kind of year just makes sense for that. It just makes sense it could happen. Again, especially if Philly loses. It just makes a lot of sense that would be to me, a realistic scenario. That it could that like in some past it wouldn't be that bad to have to go play. And because again, there's so many teams that don't play outdoor, especially in the NFC. There's only like the only teams that can get a home game that are gonna be outdoor against the Lions at the 5 seed would be Philly. Or not outdoor, but in potential bad conditions be Philly. So because of that, like I feel good anywhere. Can you do one where the Eagles beat Green Bay? All right, so if the Eagles, you're saying the Eagles beat Green Bay, let's go. I'm going to say Washington wins. I'm going to say the 5 seed still wins. NFC North team still wins. That would mean then Lions would play Washington, and then Philadelphia would play the Vikings. Now this is where you would want the 1 seed. Because then if the Lions win and then the Philly wins, then we get to play them at home. But if we act as if the Lions are the 5 seed and the Vikings are the 1 seed, or excuse me, Lions are the 4 seed, Vikings are the 1 seed. Now we'd have to play immediately on the road. So that's the biggest thing is right there. But I think that changes if we do this. See, now this, okay, so here's what we know. Here's how this breaks down. The big thing is this game is if Green Bay doesn't beat Philly, the Washington LA game is massive. If we become the wild card team and Green Bay doesn't beat Philly, this game's massive because this dictates either we have to deal with the Vikings again on the road, which I feel good about, or we have to go to Philadelphia, which I'd feel less good about. What? Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't believe in Tampa. I don't believe in Tampa beating the 5 seed. I don't believe it. I don't think Tampa could beat the Vikings or Lions. I don't think they can. I don't buy it. Lions or Rams in the title game. So if the Rams win, Rams beating the Eagles? Oh, I ain't picking that. I did that once. I would not pick that. There is no way I'd pick that. But this would be a wild path. It'd be a wild path. I wouldn't be picking it though. Oh, that thing is super glitched. I would think it's super. What the heck is going on? All right, I don't know what's going on. This thing just gave up. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'm not even showing it on the screen anymore. My bad. That's why y'all are asking. I was like, wait, you don't see me? This is what I'm saying. All right, this thing is glitched. This thing is so jacked up. What is happening right now? Yeah, so that's it. That's this game. So if Green Bay loses to Philadelphia, everything's on Washington, LA. That's everything. Because then it's who has to go. Because I think this will happen. If Philadelphia wins, which is probably going to be the betting favorite, then it's on this game. Because if the LA Rams win, then we get to deal with Minnesota again. But if the Washington Commanders win, now they get the Commanders and we have to go to Philly. So I'd way rather have the LA Rams find a way to beat Washington if Green Bay lost to Philly and we ended up being the wild card team. But if Green Bay knocks them out right away, like I said, everything feels on the table. Everything feels on the table. You feel good about everything. For me, I'd feel good about any game. I feel good either way, to be honest. But I don't know, man. Tampa's dangerous. You know what? They could be. Here's why I think Tampa's a tough spot. Tampa could be dangerous, I think, if they weren't stuck into the 5 seed. If Tampa moves their seed, I think they're dangerous. Can Tampa even get out of the 4 seed though? They would have to pass the Rams. Can they even do that? Can they do that? So if the Rams lost to Seattle this week, yeah, they could do that. They could do that. The Rams lose to Seattle, they could get out of the 4 seed. I think they'd be dangerous if they were in the 3 seed. I don't think they're dangerous in the 4 seed. I think if they got to the 3 seed though, and then they had to play and then they played Washington right away, I think they'd become dangerous. But I don't think they can beat either NFC North team. I don't think they could. That'd be my that'd be my thing on that. But anyway, this is a lot. My goodness, this is a lot. My bad. This thing went off the rails. But it was good. That was good. I haven't looked at the playoff bracket like that, so that was good. I needed that. I haven't looked at it at all, so it was good. I think Lions defense to travel. Well, the run defense has to travel. I don't feel the same about defense traveling necessarily. Like outside of communication, but it's not going to be loud when they're on offense. Like I don't think I'd have an issue with anything traveling. I don't know. I don't think travel would be an issue for defense. There's something I'm missing there. I don't think, even in my experience, I don't think anything really changed. I mean, the locker rooms are different, where you sleep, that kind of thing. But being on the road for defense, I don't think is the same as like being on the road for offense. I don't think it changes much. I'm trying to think. Even if we're undefeated on the road, but even if we went to our road games, Arizona we held to 13, Dallas 9, Minnesota 29. That was the first game. Green Bay 14. That was bad weather. We did good in that one. That actually helped it. Honestly, the bad weather helped us in that one. Houston 23, Indy 6, Chicago 17, and then San Fran 34. Like I don't think going to San Fran changed anything for us on defense, but we did have some communication mess ups, so maybe. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it works like that, to be honest. I think on offense you can make a case, but I don't think on defense it does much. But I could be wrong. I mean, maybe you're thinking of something I'm missing. I don't think it does much. I took myself out of the stream. I'm with this. Let's do this. Let's give ourselves a week to just watch football and enjoy it. I agree. This would be amazing. But I don't know. Like, I don't need a week off. You know what I mean? like if you told me, like, hey, Lions are going to win a Super Bowl, you can either witness them do it as the 1 seed or as the wild card. I'd be like, Give it a wild card. Let's go on the road. Let's have it happen. Because I'm probably gonna be at the game anyway. So let's do it. Let's go on the road. You know what I mean? I'd rather play on the dang road. You know what I mean? I want an extra game to watch. Season too short. I like watching football. I like watching it. So I'd rather have the extra game. Yo, Easy. Hey, Easy's in the building. Hey, give a shout to Easy's in the building. Easy King was in the building. Man, y'all showing up, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to Charles. This is his birthday. Shout out to Charles. We are undefeated on the road this season. Tough. We're tough. Jalen can easily get injured again. Okay, well, that's our fans can give us a boost on the road. See, then that's a positive. That's a positive. If anything, it's gonna hurt the home team. Do you think Gibbs and his speed could obliterate Flores' blitzing defense? He's now RB1. I think he can obliterate them. I don't know if I want to say obliterate. I don't know. That's a tough one, man, because I think we'll run the ball well on this team. I think Harrison Phillips is their best player. Not their best player, but I think he's a really good player that constantly gives us problems. And if you look at it, usually Frank has a rough game against Minnesota. So how does he play? I say the best benefit for Gibbs is you could potentially get away from that if it's not working. If you can get away from Frank Ragnow having to deal with Phillips all the time, maybe you can get him a little bit wider. Then maybe something opens up there. So I think you get maybe more flexibility. You know what I mean? I think because like Green Bay sometimes just went straight at him. We could have more flexibility with Gibbs. Look, I think we can run the ball. Like even if it was Monty this week, I think we'll be able to run the ball. And I think you make a good point about the blitzing. Like that's how you minimize all that craziness is you just run the football. You know what I mean? You run the football well. But even with that, it does create problems because their fronts change a lot. Like post snap, there's so much movement. You got guys jumping into different gaps that you weren't expecting. And now it changes everything. You know what I mean? You thought dude had the A gap, he slanted, here comes a linebacker. And because of that, their linebackers are constantly so downhill that if you create movement, you create lanes. And you can hit the second level, and that's where you can get those big runs. Their DBs tackle well, so I don't think that's going to be an issue for them. But with how aggressive they are at the second level, I guess to your point, with how aggressive they are at the second level, if you do get past kind of that front that's stepping down aggressively, like Cashman and especially Ivan Pace when he's out there, bigger play potential for sure. So yeah, from that point, yes, he could turn something into like a game breaker. Sounds like I'm okay with the Vikings winning. I don't want to say I'm okay with it. Like I definitely want to win. You know what I mean? I'd prefer the bye week, I think, but yeah, I'd prefer the bye week. I think it'd be good for the team too to have a day off, and I'd love for every game to be at home. I think it'd be a easier path. I know Dan does too. He's talked about that. All roads go through Detroit. Like I want to win the division. For anything, I just want to win the division. I want to have back-to-back division champs. Like that's fire. I want to win this dang division. You know what I mean? We own this division. I want to hold on to that. But I'd feel good either way. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. Like I don't think it's as like much as it's made out to be, especially now that we've looked at the bracket where it's like, well, if they don't get the 1 seed, the season's over. It's like, wait a minute. I don't agree with that at all. And look at it now, I think there's paths where the wild card might actually be better. I'm going to be super confident whoever we got to deal with. That's the point. Whoever we got to deal with, I'm going to be confident with. But if you're the 1 seed, you're probably dealing with you might be dealing with the divisional team first game. If you're the wild card, I'm very confident we're winning that game. Jameer is him, and Barry have different attributes. But him and Barry have different attributes. Jameer is speed, Barry is agility. Yeah, and Gibbs is so unique, man. He runs with like some crazy contact balance. I was about to say, you said you'd prefer both. I prefer both. Either way, I'd rather win the division. I want to win the division. I want the celebration. I want to win the division. I want to have a week up of. I'd be really happy watching football with no stress. But I'm cool either way. But if I knew we were going to win the Super Bowl and you told me that was what was going to happen regardless, I'd take the on the road because I get an extra game to watch. A week off's kind of boring sometimes, man. You just kind of chill there. It's like, all right, what do I do for content? Nothing's happening, man. It's too many days. You're like 12 days of just like, okay, what are we talking about? I don't know. Talk about our next opponent, I guess, but dang, we don't got, you know what I mean? Like I like looking at that San Fran game. Like, I'll be honest with y'all. If we didn't play our starters in that Sanford game, we wouldn't have had the 2 videos that came out this last week. We probably would have did something on defense, but it wouldn't have been the same because certain guys would have been sitting. The offensive video definitely wouldn't have came out because it would have been like, all right, we probably would have lost, but, well, maybe not. I don't know. But it would have, it'd have been different. It'd be like, maybe we're looking at how Hendon Hooker played. Like, it wouldn't have been the same, man. I like doing that stuff. So that's why I like watching games. Regardless of how they play, I like watching the games. Jameer is Chris Johnson 5.0. Dang. Barry was electric quick. Gibbs is lightning fast. Like, I don't know, was Barry a straight line fast as Gibbs? Probably not, right? But like, I got that Barry Sanders. Y'all see the book? Do y'all ever see that? The book in the background, right there, the Barry Sanders book. We got the movie in there, bro. I watched that all the time to the point where I thought Barry was in the NFL when I was a kid. I thought he was in the NFL. Like I didn't understand. I couldn't like separate things. So I thought this dude was playing. I didn't know. Like I think I knew he was retired because I knew he wasn't on the Lions, but I thought he was like in the NFL at the same time. Like I was so confused. I think because I know I've said this before. I used to put him on the Patriots because I think I thought he was on the Patriots or something. I used to create Barry Sanders, so I knew dude wasn't in the game, but I'd make him and I put him on the Patriots. I don't know why. It's like there's Barry Sanders. Like, hey, he's. I don't know why. You know what I mean? But it's like I knew dude wasn't on the Lions, but man, he was. It was like I watched more Barry than the Lions at those those times. The highlights where it's like I don't know. Like in this, I saw a video today where people were like not quizzing themselves, but they were like, it was like a trivia. They had to like name the player from like old years. They just had to name like random dudes. And like for me, anything before 2011, I have no idea. And I was like, man, I'm really bad at this. Like they were like naming late 2000s guys. And I was like, bro, I don't know any of these dudes. I was pretty disappointed in myself. Then I get someone that's like 2013. I knew who it was. 2008. I'm like, I have no idea. I was like, I was alive. No clue. I had no idea who these dudes were. So there's like a huge gap there because I don't remember a dang thing about 2010. I don't remember. I think I was like at the party or something. Not the party. I think I was at like the Detroit thing when they drafted Calvin, where they did the thing on the field. Don't remember that at all. Well, I remember being there. I don't remember any of those players or him being drafted. Don't remember them drafting Stafford. I've seen the video. We didn't even watch the draft back then, to be honest. Side note, we didn't even watch the draft back then. I know the draft is growing in popularity. The first draft I think I remember kind of paying attention to was even this far. Let me say that when we drafted Jared Davis, that was 2017. We were listening on the car radio. I was listening on the car radio, man. That's the crazy thing, man. So, like, yeah, I got into the draft real late. Once YouTube started, I got into the draft. And if you go back and watch my old draft stuff, it is a disaster. Like, I knew, like, 7 players, but it was fun. But, like, bro, it went from 0 to 100, man. We was listening to the dang car, we drafted Jared Davis. I know dang thing about this dude. I remember we drafted Kyle Van Noy. We were watching that thing, but we heard it. It was like, oh, we took Kyle Van Noy. This guy's got to be a dog. I remember talking about it like, this BYU's got to be a dog. No, he wasn't. Well, he was elsewhere. He wasn't here. But yeah, bro, it was like a 0 to 100. I'm trying to think then because that means 2018. I think I watched the 2018 draft, but that would have been the first year I watched the draft. Saquon Baker. I had to watch that draft because we took Hawk. That wasn't Hawk. What draft was that? Oh no, that was Frank Ragnow. I didn't do a video on that. That was when Davenport went too. That's crazy. Yeah, that was really 0 to 100. Because I remember this draft because a lot of Browns fans, they took Baker. I don't remember us drafting Frank Ragnow. I'll be honest with you. I think I do. But I didn't know a dang thing about him. I didn't know who he was. Second round. Who did we take that year? Do we even have a second round pick? We probably didn't. Oh, we took care. I do. Okay, no, I do remember this because I did. Well, I watched the second round. I probably didn't even wait till the Lions pick, to be honest. Maybe I did. I just don't remember it at all because it was a lineman. And let's be honest. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, when you're not like really into the draft, team drafts a lineman, you don't care. That's the pass rusher, you don't care. You draft a guard, I don't care. But they took Carrion, and I remember because I have it recorded on my phone, me watching us draft Carrion, and I remember that because I thought we were gonna take. Who did I want at that time? I think I wanted was that year that guy? No, that wasn't Geis. I don't even know who I probably didn't know who I wanted. I just was watching it. I was hyped because it was a running back. I thought that was the year that Geis came out. Maybe not. Yeah, Darius Geis. Yep, that was it. I knew who Geis was. I didn't know who Carrion was. I knew who Darius Geis was. I wanted a running back. I wanted Darius Geis. I remember that. Fortunately, his whole career was injuries. But Carlton win that draft? That's crazy. So that means 2019 may have been the first year that we really did it. Yeah, 2019 was the first year. 2019 was first year on YouTube because we took Hawkinson. So 2018 was the first time I watched some of it on TV. 2017, I was listening on the radio. 2019 was the first time we did it on a video, and that was the first time I really got into it. Now we went way too far. Chat, way too far. I mean, let me show you how far we went. Let me this is how far we went too far. Hey, let me chat. We got a game this week, and this is what my docs look like. This is what my dogs look like. This is what my dog. This is how we know we are doing too much. This is how we know we're doing too much. I got Ronnie Bell up here. This is how we know we're doing too much. All right, I'm watching the dudes already. Okay, we're doing too much. This typically does not happen, but that's for we're doing too much. Things change fast. All right, yo, this is like a 2-hour stream. I did not expect this. Shout out to everybody that's in here just chilling. This turned into a full chill stream. Okay. Lions keys to victory. Hey, yo! All right, let me just point this out. If you have the Bleacher Report app, you should see this. This is what I'm talking about. If you have the Bleacher Report app, I guarantee this is my clip. That video, that whatever Bleacher Report just posted, Lions keys to victory. If you have the app, you follow the Lions, you probably got the notification. 25 people put a fire emoji. There's 5 comments right now. That's probably my video. It's probably a segment of the video we did on Wednesday. So even if you don't watch the full thing, Bleacher Report does work, man. They cut that thing up. They do what I should do. They cut things up. They cut clips and they post them. And that's probably a clip from that show. So if you watch that, you can probably find the full show off of it. But if you just want to see a clip of what we're talking about, I don't know what it is, but it's there. So yeah, shout out to Bleacher Report. See, that's a good like little transition. Kinda. Okay. Bro, Barry Sanders played behind Thurman Thomas. I've heard the name. I honestly could not point out Thurman Thomas. Thurman Thomas. I've heard that name a lot, though. You will get a great job as Scoutos. We've done too much. Scattaboo. I love Scattaboo. I love Scattaboo. Putting in the work. Putting in the work. I love Scattaboo. It's either you or Jeff that pops up. Shout out to Jeff. Jeff's a dog. Shout out to Jeff. Barry Sanders was making guys miss with shoulder pads. Facts. No, he did. He did. But he looked cool in those pads, though. Like, he made those old jerseys look fire as heck. Like, it's crazy how different jerseys... Like, even if you own a jersey now, you know what I'm talking about? Like, they don't have the holes in them. Like, the old ones had the holes in them. He looked fire in that. That jersey looked fire when he used to wear that thing, though. Because he had, like, all the arm things going on. You know what I'm saying? He had, like, the arm sleeves and stuff. He didn't have, like, a... I don't think many people wore those, like, pockets back then. Not a pocket. The hand warmers. Did people wear hand warmers back? Maybe quarterbacks did. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of old school hand warmers. But he had like the high socks that like went up to his calf or whatever. I thought those were fire. Like that's sick, dude. I see you with that. I guess most players do that though, for being honest. Most players do that. Okay, we're completely off track here. J-Mo need 33 yards to go over 1,000. That's fantastic. Go get him that number. He'll get the number. He'll get that. He'll get 33. If it's that, he's going to get that. Favre stayed with 1 5-time Pro Bowler for the Bills. Oh, so he didn't play for he did play for both. You're saying he played for both. Just ask Hall of Famer Rod Woodson about Barry Sanders. Oh, snap. Wait, he actually hurt his ACL I didn't know that. Did he hurt his ACL trying to tackle Barry? That's tough. Garrett dude, that sounds awful. Garrett Wilson is the only one with that jersey. With what jersey? I missed something. The Thurman Thomas one? Dion, I've been following you for the longest time. King, you're my guy. I know, King of Acorns. How excited are you for this game and the playoffs? Feeling like it's good year to win all. I'm pumped. I think this is a team that can do it. You know, and it's better growth because I thought last year they could, but I think that they kind of like earned that belief. Where the point by the time we got to the San Fran game, I thought we were going to smoke San Fran. And then we got out and it was like, oh, we actually are going to smoke this team. I thought the game was over and then we lost. So it was kind of like, okay. I would say it humbled me a little bit, but not really because I thought we'd blow them out and we just did some dumb things. But I didn't come into the playoffs like that. Like I got to that point because the way we beat Tampa. The Tampa game shook everything. Like we got by LA and I knew that was going to be a handful. And the way that we beat them was like, man, that was intense. And then the way we handled it felt like we kind of handled Tampa Bay. I went in that San Fran game thinking we were going to smoke that team. So it's weird because that was the growth. And I think that was kind of the tipping point was the way that we beat Tampa Bay. Because the first year it was like, yo, we just want to get in there and just see what happens. I wouldn't have cared if we won. We just wanted to get in there. And then this year, I feel like I guess I probably feel pretty similar to I don't know. I think I feel different than last year because I think this is a tougher game than what our first playoff game is probably going to be, or whatever next week's going to look like, whether it's a bye or a playoff game. Like I feel really confident because I think this team can beat anybody. And I think that clip is important because that's a big reason why. Because I think we can throw the ball against anybody. And I think that will help us. translate into the playoffs against anybody that we see. I think we can throw the ball. I think we can run the ball on anybody. And I think our defense is going to surprise some people. And I think that this may end up, to kind of put a bow on everything, this may end up being a great spot for the narrative to be heading into the playoffs. I think it is. I kind of love it. I love the fact that, guys, it was just like 6 weeks ago, really before the Alima injury. I was talking about how good this defense was. I did a video over there like 3 weeks ago talking about how clutch this defense was, how big they were in big spots. They've been clutch all season long. And in just the last few weeks, like things have just, because like I was hanging on there. Like we had the big injury to Hutch. Even after the injury to Alim, I was still like, this defense is really good. And I thought the injury stuff was kind of nonsense, thought it was overblown. And then it was really up until the last few weeks where the whole, it's gone from like, for at least in my opinion, it's gone from a lot of people concerned about the injuries, but there was still a really like confident, I think, group of people, even with the concerns, like we're still good, to this last couple of weeks, it's just like flown the complete opposite, where it's like this thing is a disaster. We can't stop anybody. And I love that we're in that spot because I don't think that much has changed. I think we're going to be fine. And I think it's all, it's all circumstance, who you play, that kind of thing. I think it's a couple of unique games that we had to deal with in 2 of the last 3 weeks. And I think it's a great spot to be in as a fan, that the defense isn't being gassed up. I think it's almost good that the expectation is so low for this team defensively, because I don't think that they're a horrible defense. I don't think that they're horrible. I think they're still going to be very good. I think they're going to be very good. Forget the average. I think they're going to be really good when the playoffs start. And I think we're going to play better than people expect next week, at least a lot of people. So I'm actually pretty optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic about how our defense is going to play. And because of that, I kind of love the mindset that's out there of like, yo, this defense is going to hold them back. I love that, man. It takes all the pressure off those guys to just go play. And I think they're going to surprise people as we go forward. We'll see this week. I think this week, again, is another handful because there's just not a lot of offenses that have that many weapons. But, and a quarterback that's playing MVP level. But as we hit the playoffs especially, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. Like, I'm telling you right now, if we played on the road in the first game, I could see us holding a team under 20. Regardless of who it was, I could see us holding that team under 20 points. I completely could see that happening. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And I think it would shock a lot of people. And I think it's absolutely on the table that would happen. Our first playoff game, we hold the team less than 20 points. I think this week will be hard to hold them less than 20 points. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're too good offensively. But I think even great defenses, that happens. You know what I mean? You play great defense. Hey, Vikings got the best pass rating allowed in football. They played us. They gave up 31 points. It's like, oh, okay, that's not great. Like, you play great offense. That happens. So I think it just is what it is. But how many of those kind of offense are we going to see? I don't think we're going to see that many. I mean, we won't, we're going to see them every week. So I don't know. I just kind of love the spot the defense is in. I love the vibes that are there. And as long as the inside is the opposite way, and they're like, yo, we're still those dudes. We're not listening to any of this outside noise. We're a heck of a defense. Look at these long stats. We're fine. If they come in with that mindset, I think they have the players. I don't think that much has changed where they can't still be really good. Really good at any of these games. Mayo Bowl is just nasty. Is that the game right now? Is a Mayo Bowl? Let me check. Who's that? Is that Texas State or is that Minnesota, Virginia Tech? Yeah, that does sound nasty. Mayo Bowl? Yeah, that does sound nasty. I thought you were talking about like Will Levis or something. Like people are after Will. hey, that's the bowl for Will Levis. Like, hold on. Hey, Will Levis playing this weekend though. Will Levis playing this weekend. You know what I mean? Titans, throw your picks in. Throw your picks in. Bet US. Shout out to Bet US. Got an opportunity. A couple of these guys, last game of the season. I think this could be one of the best weeks to bet on football because you had a lot of teams that aren't playing anybody. Or you could just bet on like organization. You can bet on if you understand a team's depth better. Like if you're a fan of a team that's like not playing starters, or the flip side, like you could probably get in on a pretty good number here because you understand the backups better than a majority of the bettors will. Maybe don't bet every game. I wouldn't do that. But if like there's a certain game, shout out to Bet US YouTube 150. That's code 150% deposit match on your first deposit. 125% on your next two, up to $2,000 using code YouTube 150 down description. Like this spread is insane. 20 points. 20 points is great. Now they got something to play for, but this is crazy. This is a crazy one. But like this is going to be a good football game. Everybody, you know what's crazy? The truth, I'm taking the Steelers this week. Every week I pick against them. I'll probably be wrong because I'm not, but I'm taking the Steelers this week. But like some of these goofy games, I think would be interesting. This one probably not. I think Saints could maybe keep it close, but I think Tampa scored like 50 against them last time, so probably not. This one interesting because Miami kind of is alive, but it's a pick 'em. Like, this is crazy, actually, that this is a pick 'em. Like, one team's playing playoff, one team's out of everything, and it's a pick 'em. This one's interesting. It's only a 10.5 point spread. I mean, one of them's 20. This one's a 10.5 point spread. This team's playing the playoffs, but they're basically saying that the gap between the Browns and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Broncos is 10 points. Especially when you consider that one team is literally just not playing anybody. I think the Browns are the Browns playing starters? I think so. DTR should be playing, and they're terrible over there. That's unfortunate. You know what game I like, though? No, I don't like this one. I like Aiden O'Connell, but I don't think they're going to win, bro. Chargers need it. I think they're going to handle business. What is it going on here? Let's see if they got any slick lines. Houston Texans, Titans. Like, this one's sneaky. I'd bet the Texans. I think I took the Titans to win, though. I don't know who I took. Whoever I took. I think the Texans probably win by more than a point. I think they're a better football team. But the over-under is 36. Oh, that's goofy. I mean, the Titans. Yeah, I don't trust Titans at all, man. I don't trust Titans at all. Let me just go to let's go to Saturday, man. I'm taking Steelers. Give me Steelers with the point. Let's place a $10 bet. What do we get on that? $10.50? Let's go. It's a good number. Let's go. I'll take that. You know, I should have did the money line on this one. The money line plus 115. I don't need a point. Let me go money line. Hold up. Get out of here. Let me do this. Get rid of that. What is it now if I bet 10? 11? Hey, 11.50. Hold up. See, that goes a long way. That's what we got to do. I'm betting the money line on that. I don't need no dang point. It's going to be a 1-point game. Stop playing, man. Give me that. Let's go. We only got like 4 games this week that kind of matter. Let's go. Shout out to BetUS for that. What up, Ryan? I see you. I saw Benny Blades and Ray Crockett. Was Ray Crockett a tight end? I probably sound terrible saying that. Lem Barney. You saw Lem Barney? Dang, okay. I'm getting a little worried. We can't pay all our big new contracts. Do you think the next year... One sec, I got this on screen. Do you think in the next year we have to say goodbye to one of our fan favorites? If so, who might be replaceable? Man, yeah, we will. I think the tough one's going to be Levi. I think Levi's going to be a really tough guy to lose, man. I think Levi's taken major steps this year. He's got 36 pressures on the season. He's been pretty consistent on the field. Like, he hasn't been perfect, but he's playing inside, outside. I don't want to lose him. I wouldn't be surprised if his price is higher than if he has a big game in the playoffs, which I hope he does, or Minnesota, and he goes out there and just cooks Ed Ingram or something. If that guy has one of those, that's really all he's missing is like one game where he just goes nuts. And I think that with Pat O'Connor playing well, he could do that. He moves too much to maybe do it consistently, but I think in a game where he's on the field a lot, he could do that, and I think he could earn himself a pretty nice deal elsewhere. And it'll be tough to lose Levi, because Levi's been a warrior. I don't want to lose him. I'm hoping his price point stays low. I think he'll be tough. I think Barnes is probably more likely to come back because he's coming off the injury. They like Barnes. He's unique. I see Barnes right there in the chat. I think he'll come back. So I think he'll be stuck around because I think he's unique for us. I think it's almost like the Van Ginkel thing where it's like we value him a certain way versus what other teams do. I think our value would be a lot higher on Barnes. I don't know because like other teams may struggle to figure out how do we use him. Like the Saints might be able to use him. Some teams may start because they're like, we're going to play nickel anyway. Some teams might struggle to figure out what's actually going to be great for him. So I think that his value is going to be higher as a Lion. He'll probably stay, but Levi could have a lot of value elsewhere because people could kind of envision like we could put him here. We could play him at some nose like he did this year. Like he's an athlete. I think Levi's price point might get too high. If he could also be in that conversation, the weird thing with Iffy is though, I don't know that he has I don't know that he's got enough, I don't know he's got enough snaps. I don't want to lose any of these guys. I'm really worried about Levi, but if he's got to get better in man coverage, but I do feel like if that can just continue to grow, if he has an offseason where he's healthy, he comes into a season kind of healthy, I would love to see what he could turn into. I think he could be the best safety in football. Like, if he could have a year where he's the best safety in the NFL, and that would be incredible. I think it's on the table for him. I think he's very capable of getting to that level because I've seen Kirby get better in coverage. I've seen Tracy Walker get better in man coverage. I think if he has all the tools to get better in man coverage, he just needs the time to get better in man coverage. He could be the best safety in the NFL in one season. I could see that happening. That wouldn't shock me at all. I just don't know that he has enough out there where someone would pay him a ton of money. I'm kind of weird on the Iffy one, but I think Levi would be the one that might happen. Who else would that? Probably not Jefferson. He wouldn't get paid that much. I don't know. Anybody else? Anybody else that comes to mind? I don't know who else that would be. I don't know who else that would be. Maybe I don't think any of these receivers. I know the JMO one. I'd be surprised if that happened. We got Davis might be one. Now, hey, Davis would be a tough one. Davis would be a tough one to lose. But that one's definitely on the table. It's definitely on the table. It feels like one of those guys that they won't let out of the building, but it could definitely happen. Like, it could definitely happen. And I would hate it. Carlton Davis is a dog, but you just know when you sign him to the new deal, you know he's going to miss time. And he's constantly getting banged up. Even when he's not off the field, you know he's constantly getting knocked around. It's like, it's always like, ugh. It always looks like a little bit like that with Carlton. And you just wonder, man, all the time when you watch the guy. I love the dude as a player. You just wonder all the time. You knew when we signed him, you knew he was going to get hurt. He scares me a little bit because I think there's only so far you can go with that price point. Like, I think negotiation-wise with him, there's only so far as a team that you can. There's going to be like a set price where, like, we're not going above this. And if another team there's just not enough good corners where another team that just really needs a corner may just overpay for that. And I don't want to lose him, but like, someone could definitely I think someone could price us out of him. You know what I mean? I think someone could price us out of Carlton this offseason because you already know, like, I think there's got to be a cap to how much you're willing to pay for him. So what is your main need? I think edge. I think we need a pass rusher. I think we got to go get somebody that could rush a passer. I think a nose tackle would be great. I don't think it's the main need, but I want to get one. I want to get a. It's hard because I like Broderick, but I think we need to get a nose. But honestly, we could do that in free agency. If we got like another Kyle Pecco, maybe someone better like that. I want to get another like hybrid Sam backer. I'd like to see us get something like that. And we could also go with a true D end. I don't want to replace Pascal, but I don't think we have a great hybrid beyond Barnes, and we're seeing that this year it drops off really fast. Trevor Nowaski, wouldn't shock me if he comes back next year, but I'd look into that because Malcolm doesn't bring that. Even when he was on the field, he doesn't bring it. I would like a little bit of a hybrid pass rusher. That's what I would go. That's what I think the main need would be, because I think that's like, even Derek Barnes doesn't really fill that. I think that's kind of the main need. Outside of that, though, I mean, you go with another linebacker. Even though we have a lot, like, we have Alex locked up, I want to hate drafting another linebacker to put in there. Because we kind of have had a rotation, unfortunately. I like Malcolm a lot, too, though. So maybe not. You don't need to. I like Malcolm a lot, but you could get someone else in there with Ben Neiman. Like, you could get someone else to back up Jack Campbell as the Mike. I could see that. Definitely can never have enough corners. I think safety's going to be in a good spot if you can get Iffy back. Offensive line is in a good spot. You're probably going to need a guard. We'll see, though. I think the Zeitler thing could be year to year. We'll see. But Mahogany didn't look bad. I think you'd still need a guard, but Mahogany didn't look bad. And then quarterback's good. Running back feels good. I don't think you count out running back because it's pretty deep this year. But and then receiver. You go another receiver. If they didn't grab another receiver, I'd be fine with it. If they did grab another receiver, I'd be fine with it too. I'd be cool on either side there. But if they don't grab a receiver, then Tim Patrick might have to be resigned. Because I think at very least, it would be nice to have some consistency with who that opposite position is. I think you can re-sign Patrick. I'd have no issue with it. But I just want a little bit more, like, I know who the other guy is. So maybe that's drafting someone. Maybe that's whoever that is. I'd like to have just a little bit more continuity with our opposite receiver. I would throw that into the mix. It would also maybe give you some flexibility with Jamison Williams and St. Brown. I'd probably throw that in there. You want Scatterboo? I love Scatterboo, bro. I love Scatterboo. He gives me some Marshawn Lynch vibes, but I think that his explosiveness is underrated. He's not super agile. I didn't think he was very agile, right? But, man, that dude I think is a better athlete than what gets thought about. Like, he's not like the straight line run past you kind of. He's not Gibbs, but that dude has some explosiveness in his game. You could see it in kind of the lateral movement. I think scheme-wise there may be some limitations, but you put him in like a gap scheme or an inside zone team, you let him get downhill. That dude is a handful, bro. I don't know how long-term his career will be. You know what I mean? He might be like the rookie contract. He's amazing, and then we'll see after that. But he gives me like Lynch vibes, bro. I love Scatterboo, dog. That dude is an animal. I want him too, man. Hey, if the Lions draft a Scatterboo, I'm here for it. Now, they would have to wait. They can't do like round 1 or maybe even round 2, but they'd have to wait a little bit. He'd have to fall a little bit. But if they did, I'm here for it. I don't think every team's going to want him. But I want him. You know what I mean? I want him. I'd be happy with Scatterboo. His full contact running style is awesome. It's amazing. Look at that. Yeah, with Najee. Maybe to replace Najee Harris. That'd actually be nice. What are the chances the OC comes back? I think he comes back. I still think he comes back. I hear the Bears buzz. I hope he doesn't go to the Bears. If he goes, he earned it. Good luck, man. I just don't want to deal with this guy twice a year. That's it. I like literally. I hope he doesn't fail. I hope he does well. Just don't want it to be for the Bears because I'm gonna have to root for your downfall at least when we play you. I'm just gonna be honest. So don't do that. But man, Ben Johnson is like the most inspirational, I think, coach. That's not a head coach for me personally. Like the amount of creativity, and it's not just Ben, it's everybody behind the scenes that we don't give talk about, but we know it as kind of Ben's offense. That is like the most fun thing in the world to watch. It makes you think different. It makes you like, well, what if you tried something like this? You know what I mean? And for me, it constantly just like has ideas flowing. I remember, this season we were doing the high school stuff, man, and I was just trying to come up with stuff. Like the amount of things that I would just like, it made me like, I got to think outside the box. Like what could be even more there? Like, what could you do? What would be the little twist you could throw onto that Ben would do? And I'm way behind. He always shows me something. I'm like, man, what the heck? I didn't even think about doing it. Like if I see it, like I would say, if I see it, I'm like, oh, you could probably go at this team this way, attack that kind of thing. Ben will see that and he'll go completely beyond. He's like, well, watch when we do this. And it's like, man, how did you even think about that? Like, that makes a ton of sense. Obviously, you should have done that. Like, I was trying to find the answer. You had the answer, too. Ben is amazing. So I'll be rooting for him wherever he goes because that dude, in his path to getting to where he is amazing as well. I'll be rooting for that dude big time. But I don't think he's going to leave. And I could be wrong. I hope I'm right. I don't think he's going to leave. Just don't go to the Bears. Just don't nowhere near the Bears. I heard that they were trying to keep him away or whatever. Somebody was because then Ben Johnson wants to bring. I heard Ben Johnson was bringing Lance Newman, which makes sense, or Newmark. Lance Newmark, because he was with the Lions, so there'd be a connection. Makes a ton of sense, but the Bears maybe don't want to do that because then the guy would be fired. Makes sense to me. Don't go to the Bears. Go anywhere else. Don't go to that team. That's it. Don't go to that team. Jahid Campbell. I've watched Jahid Campbell. I don't know who the edge is, though, who you're referring to, though, Charles. I've seen Jahid Campbell, though. He stands out a little bit. Ben's trick plays look like they're cookies out of the cookie jar. He's crazy, man. He's crazy, but I think he makes you think about the game differently. You know what I mean? Like how much is actually there? Like he makes you think like you have to look at everything of look how much we have. Like don't put yourself in a box. Like, oh, if we had a quarterback that could run a little bit, we could do these. We could do the options. It's like he does all the things that are like, oh snap. like okay, I see what, like yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like he makes so much more out there. And I think he looks at it with such a I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. There's a word for this and it's going over my head right now. He just looks at things the right way, but I can't think of what the word is. Basically, the word for looking at it as he's seeing everything that's potentially in there. You know what I mean? Like everything that they could get to. He's seeing all of like the potential within an offense that I just don't think anybody else sees. You know, it's like if you could use it like this, if we align our offense mind like that, then we might have something. And it's like, what? And you know what it is? Kind of like what Notre Dame has done with their special teams this year, where that's kind of drawn some buzz. Like they did it against Georgia. Literally, I don't even know. I think the Georgia coach is like, you can't do that. Everybody came off the field, and then the offense came onto the field, and then they jumped them off sides, and it was like, what the heck? Who in the world does that? And it was like, hey, like nobody thinks about that. Taking everybody off the field like that, that's going to throw you off. Now that's got to be in the back of your mind. So it's just like, it's crazy. I can't think of the word. There was a good like analogy for it, but I can't think of what the word is. But that's what Ben is. He makes you think of the things that you never would have thought about before. And he makes you like question, like, yo, I should think about this a little bit deeper. There's got to be more in the bag. Like it doesn't have to be just the concept that you thought. Like there's more there. Just think through it. There's more there. There's something there. Go above and beyond what you've seen. Even if he's seen it and I just haven't seen it, that's why it's new to me. There's something else there. You know what I mean? And I think that it also makes you realize how much of the confidence they can actually put into like a quarterback of what he's seeing, the no-look throws. And it's just like he trusts it so much that the ball's going there. The way that they can instill that kind of confidence in different players is crazy. GM is trying hard to steal the Bears away from Ben Johnson. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to be out of there, but that's good for me, man. I hopefully continues doing that. Hopefully he continues doing that, man. It's basically the thing of like you look at what you have And you have to look at it. It's like looking at like what you have as from an abundance point of view. You know what I mean? You have to take what you have and you want to get the most out of it for whatever situation you're in. It's kind of like looking at it like that. Like, don't look at what you don't have. Look at everything that you have and really like, how can I leverage this to make it make sense? That's what Ben does better than everybody else. I think Aaron Glenn does fantastic. Aaron Glenn is very confident. He trusts his players. He gives them opportunities to be aggressive. He puts teams on their heels, and he is willing to have different strategies each game. I think Ben Johnson sees everything from abundance. He sees everything as like the things that you wouldn't think of that makes everything possible. And it's like even the first time, and that's involved too, because I remember the first time they put Saint at like running back in the shotgun, it was like, oh snap, they put Saint back there, and now it's like not even crazy when they do it. They just do it occasionally, but it's like it's also the details. Like, we're kind of going on a little side note. It's the details too, and I'm actually going to show one more play, and then we'll kind of end this thing, I think. But it's the details of the smallest details mean everything. And there was two plays that are coming to mind, and I want to show those two plays before we move because. Yeah, these two plays are crazy, and they've happened in the last couple of years. And the details, I pointed these out before, but the details to these plays are like, you don't think about how much the little things really matter, but it's like maybe that's also points to the self-scouting too, being aware of who you are, and that other teams see that as well. So if we just make this small little tweak, how much it could actually change the entire picture. And I think that there's a great example this season, and there's a great example last year that come to mind. I want to show this year's example. Let's go to the Lions-Packers game. Hey, why not? Yeah, you definitely pitch it to JMO. Let's go to the Lions-Packers game. So one of the Lions' touchdowns, let me see. Lions play result was a touchdown. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to show the touchdown here. This is not the right game. Hold up. Play result, touchdown, game. Wrong week here. What week are we in? Yeah, week 14, Green Bay, Detroit. Okay. I think this was the touchdown to Tim Patrick. Yep, here it is. This one. This is the kind of thing, and he's done this. This is two good examples, I think, of this. Right here. It was a 3-yard touchdown. It was and it also gives you so much confidence going from 4th down, too. Like, how much does that change if you don't have Ben? The amount of confidence they have to, like, and it must have it down. Hey, we're going to throw it deep on 3rd and 1 because we're going for it on 4th and 1. It's like, how does that change when you have a guy that you just trust is going to have a play that's going to get that? Like, you're going to find a way. And if you think about it, so many times you're running the ball in these spots. But, like, something like this, like, to me, the little things meant the world here. And they've done such a good job with timing and the way they've come out of huddles like this. They break the huddle. They put Saint at running back. I forgot they did that, but that just points to it. And they put Gibbs out wide here. The Packers are in zone, and look at the communication between the linebacker and defensive back. Now they're scrambling on the play. Stokes and the linebacker. Edgerrin Cooper rushes over late. Now he's got to race out there to the flat. They're in their cover 3. Nobody's paying attention here. And the crazy thing about that is he's the outside third, so he's going to play the outside third, but he runs through it into the other guy's zone. He just stops paying attention to Tim Patrick. Patrick settles down. He got a touchdown. And it's like just a little wrinkle of like, what if we come out with St. Brown at running back and we come out with Gibbs at receiver? And how does that change how they line up pre-snap? And that causes confusion, and you throw it away from that, and then you get a big play. And then there was the play. Let me show the other play. What's up? Dog just woke up. Let me show you this other play. This was Jameson. This was a good one, too. Swap the Broncos with Reynolds for Patrick. Yeah, basically. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird how that played out. But yeah. Yeah, we definitely did. Okay, here's the 20... Ooh, can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if it'll let me go to 2023. 23. Yes. He only scored 2 touchdowns in 2023, so this should be... Yeah, okay. Okay, I found it. I don't know if it'll let me do that, but it does. Okay, here we go. I didn't know if they even had 2023 stuff. I guess I just didn't know how to find it. This is kind of the same thing. It's like he takes advantage of the small details. This is the touchdown to JMO. I think we all remember this one on kind of the deep corner route. But it's the way that Goff does the cadence, and the way that he does the cadence where he shortens the entire cadence, and there's no, see where the defense settles into. There's no motion. There's no move. It's immediate. So when he gets up there like this, settles everybody down. You see that? He settles everybody in like, okay, wait a second. And then Frank just immediately puts his hand down. He snaps it, and there's no cadence. The defense is late. They try to rotate. Bam, cover 3. Got to get over top. He's racing over top. They're late. Carlton, confusion. He's down. Confusion. This is fine. The fact that he's coverage now by Jameson, and they create out. I'm going to show the play one more time. They out leverage the safety on the play when they rotate their safeties down into the post safety. They out leverage it by the way that he does the cadence, by having Frank immediately get down, take the snap, and then fire it over top. And they're late on the play, free safety's late over top, and it creates a touchdown. He does a great job of taking advantage of things like that, like the little things. And whoever is responsible for that, that's amazing. So I think it changes a lot, man. I think it changes a lot in trust and confidence. And I don't know. I hope we don't lose him. I hope we don't lose that guy. But that's life, and then hopefully the next guy up, he'll take advantage of his opportunity, and he'll look at it the same way. Like, yeah, what can we turn this thing into? You know what I mean? What can I add to this? How can I make it better than what Ben did? You know what I mean? It's crazy. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there, man. Using tempo and spades. It's crazy, man. And I will say, side note, as a defense, like I thought we handled no huddle better last week. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought it was way better versus at points this year where it looked kind of like a disaster when teams went no huddle. That's a little side note too. I thought we were better against no huddle last week. That's another thing that I think is going well. Is we're a little more creative. There's a little bit more. I think there's much faster processing defensively, which is much better because in the past it just got us into shambles. And I think it was better this last game against San Fran when they went no huddle at the end. So there's that. But yeah. I'm going to end it there, man. I appreciate everybody joining. This stream went way longer than I expected, but I had fun. Shout out to everybody that's in here. Y'all are the real ones for that, man. And I plan on doing a pregame Sunday, and then we'll see if I can get a preview out potentially tomorrow. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but I would do it just maybe shorter because I'm gonna go through the Vikings game again. I'm going to keep watching these recent ones. And just maybe a little bit shorter. We got school starting again, so that's trash. You know what I mean? Like, I got chat that it starts Monday. I'm like, oh dang, dog. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking forward to this, but that's on the horizon. So it's gonna change scheduling a little bit. You know what I mean? So I gotta like prioritize things. I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I saw him like, oh my goodness. So we're into the playoffs, so it makes sense to start, but we gotta get back to prioritizing, man. So that's where we're at with this. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody joining. Let me check this real quick before I get out of here. Yeah, that's what it was. I need to log in. I haven't logged in a minute here. See you all Sunday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you didn't see yesterday's video, you should check it out. If you want to know more about my defensive thoughts, I think it was a good one. I mean, I try to keep it somewhat short and sweet, but I kind of just flew through some plays. There's a lot of plays in there. That was a big day. There's a lot of plays in there. Use changes. Yeah. Kudos. I don't know what that means. Enrollment. Yeah. All right. That's it, man. Be fortunate that you have a chance to go. That's facts. That's facts. I'm just not looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They already told me the class, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Because you know what I mean? Like I was going, before the season, and I stopped for the season, and it's like, all right, I got to get back on it. I probably even got to do more than I'm doing. I was like, I got to get back on it. And then they hit me with the course, and I'm like, oh, are you serious? This is how we getting back for real? So, yep, that's what we're doing. Not looking forward to, but we're there. We're here. All right, it keeps me locked in though. That's the positive. Looking for the positive, abundance. It's good. It keeps me locked in. Keeps me grounded. You know what I mean? I got to get it done. Keeps me on a schedule. But anyways, man, we're out of here. Appreciate y'all joining. I will see you all at the latest on Sunday. Hopefully before that. Maybe even we'll do a live stream pregame kind of thing. Maybe we'll do that on Saturday where we break it down. I don't know. We'll see. Just depends on time. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you all on Sunday at the latest. Stop whining. And then Bleacher Report. We're gonna be live post game Sunday night. I don't know, 11:30, something like that time. That's our recap show. And shout out to BetUS, YouTube 150. That's the code down in the description. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Starting next week, Bleacher Report is actually going to throw another show in. So let me say that. Monday, Wednesday, what is it? I think it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to have shows each day. So it's 3 days a week. We're going to have shows during the off season. But we're also going to, on weeks that we have shows, just go Monday. So I'm going to have a show Monday, I'm going to have a show Wednesday, and I'm going to have a show for post-game. And then when we don't have a game, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we got a lot of shows going over there. So if y'all are like, yo, I want more content, follow me on Bleacher Report, man. Follow me on Bleacher Report because there's content that's constantly being dropped over there. There's clips that are constantly being dropped, and you might just be missing out on it. I'm gonna show it on the screen because some people can't find my account. I don't know why it's like that. If you look up those Deanna, it doesn't come up. So you have to follow the Lions, or you have to follow me. And I'm gonna show my page on the screen so that y'all can go over there and follow. It has my logo. And I'll show you my. So yeah, if y'all follow, okay, follow that. Follow that page, and then you can see all this stuff. We're out of here. I'm on Bleacher Report. See, that's the problem. Follow that page, dog. There's so much content over there. Follow the page, and we're out. Come on, man. That's not great. That's not great. That's not a great question to stream. I mean, that's a problem. I need to be better. I got to be better. Shout out to Bet US. We out.